Let's see. What song can I sing this morning? Got a suggestion?
No.
No, let me see.
I've been singing your ending song all morning long.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty catchy. Let me see. Um, I had a song on my mind yesterday that I just kept singing all day. I can't remember what it was. Oh, let me sing this one. I think I reposted this on my story today. Your broken heart is like an outcast, and you feel so all alone. Your problems are never ending. Each day there's a new one, and it keeps going on and on. Your loved ones have turned their backs on you. You go to your friends and they're complaining too. Jesus knows what you're going through. Put your trust in Him and He'll make a way for you. When you are having problems, try Jesus. It's an old quartet song, girl. My dad used to listen to this all the time.
It was beautiful.
When you are having problems, try Jesus. Mm, mm. I used to cry to this song when I was like a little girl. I didn't even know what they were saying. I think the second verse, let me see. In the church, on your job, and in your home, there are problems on every hand. Wait, hold on, wait. I always forget the yeah, everywhere you turn, there are troubles on every hand. There we go. In the church, on your job, and in your home, there are problems facing you again. Jesus knows what you're going through. Don't worry, He will be right there beside you. Sometimes it seems like Jesus doesn't care, but He won't put no more on you than you can bear. Oh, if you are having problems, try Jesus. Mm, 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 mm. If you are having problems, try Jesus. Had no clue what that song meant years ago, girl, but I guess, girl, pray for me because I'm like, I didn't even warm up this morning. Voice a little foggy, but girl, that song used to really work wonders. Let me see. I'm gonna go ahead. Good morning, beautiful people. It's your girl Bev. It is Saturday, August the 20th. Can y'all believe we're already on the 20th day of August, the eighth month of the year? Once August gets here, it's a done deal for the rest of the year. It's just gonna be a domino effect. It's gonna go by so fast. We're not even gonna be able to see it coming. But before we know it, we'll be saying Happy New Year. It'll be 2023, y'all. So I hope everybody's having a great year so far. Thank y'all for joining me. Those of you that are on so far, Wanda, good morning to you as well. Um, so y'all just know that we have a very special guest, and you can see her. Let me see, is my internet acting up? Was it hers? Okay, you can see her right now, and I'm gonna let her. No, I didn't know whether it was mine or not because my internet will start acting crazy. But I just want to introduce her, but I want her to give a little background about herself, whatever she chooses to share. This is my girl Esther. So Esther, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Esther, and a little bit about me. I am a woman of many things. However, the biggest thing that I want to do in life, besides pleasing God, of course, is to inspire other women to be the best versions of themselves. I may not know everything, but what I do know, I want to share. So that's me.
Look, she kept it short and sweet, and I can understand that absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start this show, which we know is the Fly with Bev show, where we do the butterfly mentality, where we think like a butterfly, even though we feel like a caterpillar. Right? We're going through the toughest moments of our lives. So, me and Esther have that in common. We want people to be the best version of themselves, and she wants to inspire women to be the best version of themselves that they can be too. And men, don't worry, we have not forgotten about y'all too. I have a special session for you all as well. I know a lot of women are on my show commenting and things like that, but we don't forget about the men. But today, we are going to focus on the women today because, if you can see in the bio of the show, I put, basically about being a woman, but also being a lady. It's so easy for us to say, I'm a woman, I'm a woman, I'm a woman, I'm a woman, but there's another side of a woman that we actually could have that's actually beneficial to us shining more as a woman. And so that is being a lady. So I brought Miss Esther Fitzgerald on here today because I would like for her to share with us some things that I've been seeing her posting. She's been posting a lot of things about etiquette and about, how a woman should be and how a lady should be, should I say, and just things that we don't hear about as often. And it's a thing of sometimes you're not even taught those things a lot, sometimes not verbally. You may have a mother in the home that's showing you how to do these things, because she's doing this, she's doing that. But, just to have the sit down talk of things of being a lady and how to carry yourself and what's classy and what's all those things that you want to do that actually shows more insight on being more feminine, because we can sometimes be so hardcore. I know me myself, I grew up with five other sisters and a mom and three brothers and a father. Thank God for that. So a whole family. But, there is this toughness, that I've been, people always say, Bev, you just so, my goodness, I've been called a savage. I've been called, what they used to call me in college, gospel gangster. Like I've been called so many things. Absolutely, girl. Because I've just been just that hardcore, not with the way that I walk, but just my speech. Like I really can be definitely cutthroat. And it does not mean that I, want to be mean, but I grew up really close to my father. And my dad is a very militant man, and he just don't carry himself where you can disrespect him and get away with it. So I guess me being around him all the time, I'm like, yeah, that's right. He ain't gonna talk to me like that either. You just get that whole, whatever. I don't want to hear it. Sit down, be quiet. Your words don't matter. So you kind of get that going. So you don't lose your femininity in the way I didn't lose my femininity in the way that I walk, because one thing one of my sisters always tell me, you're so dainty. You're such a hey everybody type person. But then there's those moments when I'm just like, when that militancy comes out and it's just like, look here now, we're not gonna have this, we're not gonna have that, you're gonna leave me alone, blah blah blah. I'm not taking that. So yeah, there's a balance to it, of course. But I wanted to get more insight just to make sure that if there's something that I've never heard before, that I know what I'm doing and how to keep myself more feminine, things like that. And then those other women out there that would like to learn more and get more understanding. So I want to start by asking Esther, what is it that has, and good morning, sis. I don't know if you know who that is, but that's Sister
Sure
Tatiana.
do.
Okay. But I wanted to start by asking Esther, like, what prompts you to get more into this topic, and what inspired you, should I say, to go this route?
Perfect. So there actually are a few different things that led me to this. One is because several years ago, for a few years, I was living this life as this teenage girl who didn't love herself and didn't understand what loving herself meant. So there were some things that I allowed, some things that happened to me that didn't necessarily need to be what it was. However, I see that as a stepping point as to me wanting to be better and to do more. So I had to first start by accepting myself for who I am, for who I was, until building on that. Also, in that time period, besides the not loving self part, I was still that girly girl. I really was hardcore. Everyone's like, "Why are you always wearing a skirt?" This is before we even came into holiness, and I'm like, "Because I like skirts. Like, what's the big deal?" So that was always a part of me anyway. And for some reason back then, it was like if you were a tom girl, you were cool. Like all the girly girls and
Mm,
whatever, they were seen like in a bad light. So I would try and hide that part of me a bit. And not gonna lie, I would be a little bit ratchet sometimes. I was quiet, but around my friends, I would be a little ratchet and
uh-huh.
and act out of character. So yeah, fast forward, here we are, me trying to do better for myself, to be a better person, and to learn all that there is for me to be a lady, to conduct myself, you know, in a well mannered way. Excuse my
Mhm,
English,
mhm.
y'all, because even though English is my first language, I do not like it.
Oh,
Anyway, so yes, there's that.
okay. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't want you to think I wasn't listening to you, but I was getting my backup plan because my internet always goes down, so I had to break my phone out so that I can make sure that, God forbid, anything happens with us on here, I have a backup plan for my internet. But yes, I can definitely agree. Like, just growing up in school and things like that, being the tomboy was kind of accepted, and like the girly girls were, like the tomboys were like the everybody's friends, and the girly girls, that were around the cheer. But I think the cheerleaders in my school, they were like really, really well accepted. Like, they were all out there cheering. Oh my gosh, so everybody was like, yeah, we love cheerleaders. Um, but at the same time, it's like I don't know. It's just to me, it just feels like being a lady and being a certain type of way was taboo because we were kids. It's like we were kids and it wasn't something that you were thinking about all the time. It was just something you were just out there just running around being crazy. Sometimes that's my story, not yours. Uh, just being crazy and stuff like that, and hanging with the friends, and you just weren't really looking at yourself in that type of light for the most part. But the fact that you actually wanted to wear skirts and stuff, me, I had no other choice. I grew up that way. That's the way that I did things. I grew up wearing
Mhm.
skirts and dresses because we were in holiness all our lives. Thank God for that, even though I didn't want it at some point. So yes, I had my moments of sneaking to, yeah, I guess I'm telling on myself, sneaking and wearing pants to school. I did. I did do that. I did sneak and wear pants to school. But I felt so uncomfortable. And it didn't last long. It wasn't like a whole year thing. I'll make sure my parents ain't around. But I don't want to get a whooping for something I did years ago. I'm saved now, parents. Okay, let me stop. But yeah, it was a thing of just going with the flow of things. So the fact that you had that mentality of wanting to wear skirts and dresses more, I mean, that says a lot because I actually know someone that said their daughter loved to wear skirts and dresses and stuff like that. She doesn't want to wear the leggings and the pants and things like that. And I think that's very admirable because not every girl wants to dress that way. Not every girl wants to do that. So I
Mhm.
think it already shows that you had that lady mentality already at a younger age. Whereas some of us, we so busy running through the trees, and I ran track when I was in school. I was in dance. I did choreography, all that stuff. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can do this in a skirt, but I want to do this in pants because I don't want to be looking, certain type of way in a skirt doing this stuff.
Mhm.
Um, but that was just a thing, like, you know, that I didn't see often. A lot of girls and there were some girls that were like really, really girly, but I think I was borderline. I was really, really girly, but at the same time, I still had that roughness, that edge to myself that kind of made me a little bit intimidating. That's the word I'm looking for. So I wasn't necessarily masculine, but I had the intimidating side, I guess, because I was told that even in high school that I'm intimidating. I was like, that must be the militant side popping out. But as time goes on, well, not as time goes on, but as we go forward, like what are some things in today's society that you see that kind of prompted you to do this as well? Because even though you want to inspire women to, be, what was it that made you see, what I'm saying, that we need more of this? Because look at the world we're living in. It's a lot of stuff going on. So what exactly was it that prompted you to even want to come this route?
That's a very good question. So it was one of those things where it's like, you know where you came from and how much help you needed. And it's like there are so many other young girls or young ladies or young women out there who need guidance too and who may not have it. So I'm like, well, I could be that voice potentially. There's so many femininity channels out there, so many things to do with etiquette. However, it's not in line with our way, like our beliefs and whatnot. So I was
Right.
like, I that would be like my like niche kind of when it comes to femininity and elegance and everything like that. Also, looking at the world and the lady or the women that around and who I see, uh, it's sad. It's
Wrap
sad
it up in a
that
nutshell, right?
it's sad that there are so many women out there who let themselves go as far as respect for themselves, love for themselves, the lack of confidence that they have, and things like that, and how they allow others to treat them. And there is no nice way to say it to a person, especially when you don't know them. You
Yeah.
can't be like, "Oh, you need to stand up straight because you keep hunching over and it makes it look like you don't want to be here or like you're shy or like you don't know how to carry yourself type of thing." You can't say that to a person, right? So, you put it out there in the public as a big, social announcement, then
Yeah.
they can take it in and they can examine themselves and to apply it to themselves if that's something that they truly want to do. I mean, because you can't change everyone. Everyone doesn't want to be changed.
Right.
That's another sad thing. But you're gonna have to let that be.
And I mean, even with that, and I think that's a good thing because yes, you don't want to just approach anybody, but putting it on a wider scale, they could come across one of the videos and be like, "Yo, like I wasn't even thinking about that." And the way that you're doing your etiquette and women's etiquette is not from a standpoint of I'm a woman, I can do whatever I want to do. I can do what a man can do. You're doing it like I'm a woman and I'm a lady and I can be in my place and still be just as good. And I think the world that we're living in today, was I reading an article or I was reading something or watching a video about how women, oh, matter of fact, that's what it was. It was Sister Valerie. She was talking about basically, are we becoming more masculine? As women, and what is society basically doing to us? And as
Hmm.
you can see, society is not they are pushing us in a direction of, you know, I don't need no man. I can do, and I'm not even gonna lie. I was like that for years. Like seriously, never wanted to get married, and was like, oh, I can do whatever. I can do whatever. Not I can do whatever a man can do because I wasn't that far into it. But I was saying that I'm strong and I don't need a man to like fix me or help me or do this or do that. I can do it on my own, because sometimes you get so used to a certain way of living that you know, you already know you see your capabilities and you see like I know they have the old folks have this saying I can do better by myself. So in my mind, I'm like, I can do better by myself and I can do good by myself too. So I'm gonna be out here being great. I don't need that. I'm good. I'm great. I'm on my own. And it doesn't mean that because I'm in a relationship that I do, I'm weak because, I'm with someone. It just simply means like, if you're in a relationship with somebody and you're a woman, like you still have your role to play, but in your own life. You know what I'm saying? Like you still have your role
Mhm.
to play in your own life. You still have what you need to do for yourself. So I do feel like society has really put emphasis on how a woman should be, but not in the way that it should be, if that makes sense. And some people would disagree and say, no, a woman can do whatever. She don't have to be this. She don't have to be that. Yeah, but there's still a certain femininity, if I'm using that word correctly, that a woman should have, and a certain grace that a certain woman should walk with. And it doesn't make her weak. It doesn't make her less than. It really makes her stands out, especially in a day like today. Look at the standard. Look at the morals. Look at the lack of shame in the women on today. Like how everything, and I think women are just trying to prove a point. I think women are really trying to prove a point that I don't have to cover my body up. I don't have to do these things in order to be considered, classy or whatever. They can take it however it is and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to wear this tank top. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to walk this way. I'm going to walk outside with my bonnet on and these slippers, and everybody just going to have to accept it. I'm going to walk out with these rollers that been in for 2 days straight because I don't have a job and I haven't been doing much. And I'm going to walk around like this. And I'm going to look like a bumette. And people are going to love it, and they're gonna respect it. And if they say anything about it, then I'm gonna go across their head or whatever. And it's like, no, honey, there should be a certain level of shame, a certain level of grace, a certain level of beauty, a certain level of maturity that you say to yourself, would I want my daughter to walk around and look like this? Would I really want to walk around looking classless? What does class even look like to you now? What does class look like to you? What is class?
Class to me is modesty, really. Because if you, all right, let's look at it from two perspectives, right? So if you look
Uh-huh.
at these classy women out here who are in their prime, their elegance, and you see the clothes that they wear, you can see that it's not revealing. They're not showing all of their assets, you know.
So to speak, that's
They're
right. Sometimes we focus
they're
on those first
not
3 letters, but, we're gonna keep going. Okay, I'm sorry, Lord, forgive me. Go ahead.
no, it's okay. And yeah, so they're not showing all that they have to give. They are mysterious, with their bodies. You look at it in the form of modesty, that's literally what we do, right? We wear our clothes with class. Well, just in the dressing aspect of class, you you wear clothes to honor your body. That's classy, highly classy. And when you embrace that, like, there's so much more that comes with it, especially an extra boost of confidence. Because you know that you're reserving yourself, and you're honoring yourself and respecting yourself and showing yourself love because of the way that you dress.
Right.
Now, and then other aspects of class, as far as the way that you walk, the way that you sit, the way that you treat others, all of that is still classy,
Yeah.
because you, as a person, of course, you want to, be a good person, and you also want to be a good person to other people. So
Right.
you're not going to treat others bad, no matter who it is. Even if it's someone who did you wrong, you will still smile, say hello, and walk away. Like, it's something where, that's where the humility comes in at. And this is what we're taught, right? So you
Yeah.
can see that there's a lot of like when people say classy, there's a lot that originates from the way that we're supposed to live, from scriptures and everything, what God has put here for us to follow by. It's all in this, and in etiquette. Like,
Yeah.
it's your manners, it's how you conduct yourself, your behaviors, so that you respect yourself, respect others, and stray away from offending anyone. So
Yeah, and even if you do offend someone, it's not that you purposely did it. It was just maybe something that was misunderstood or something you didn't intend to come across in the way that it did. But even in that case, just still approaching that offense and saying, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it for that's if they approach you about it. Because some people can be mad thinking that you meant to do something and you really did not. So they sitting around holding a grudge on you and you trying to figure out, well, what in the world happened? Because the last time I spoke to them, everything was all right, but now it's not. So then if you have to approach that, then of course you acknowledge where you failed, them in that aspect, and then you move forward. But yeah, absolutely, class to me is just, I mean, being discreet is a part of class, and that takes away from us being ratchet and loud and ghetto. Don't get me wrong, I'm a very energetic person and I can really like be a low key comedian. I will stand there with people all day and I will crack jokes. We will laugh. We will have a good time. But at the end of the day, Bev is still gonna carry herself like a lady. You know what I'm saying? A lady does not lack a sense of humor because she's a woman. It's just
100%.
a matter, right? It's just a matter of how she does it. Now, am I out there? Let me tell you. Like, I'm not out there hollering and screaming at folks, but if I'm like, girl, let me tell you, so, like, man, people is crazy. Like, we're gonna laugh about it and we're gonna have a good time. But
Hmm.
and there was things that I had to learn because it wasn't that I was just obnoxiously loud or ghetto or nothing like that, but I'm a very high energy person. I used to be. I'll put it that way. Not anymore. But I used to be a very high energy person. So if you around me, we about to have fun. Like don't come to me if don't come around me if you're a stick in the mud, if you boring and you just want to sit back and be like, oh my gosh, why are they this? Why are they that? Bye. But that's how I was in high school and in college. But I was never the type of person to I've always had people drawn to me, which is fine, but I'm at that age where I'm annoyed by it now. I'm gonna be honest. Like, why are you around me? I just want to be around. No, bye. I don't really want to deal with that anymore. But it was just a party. It was gonna be a party around me, should I say? But it wasn't because I wanted to do crazy stuff or things that were just wrong. It was because I love to have like real genuine fun. But my growth in myself and just seeing myself as a lady and just asking God to help me to make sure I'm maintaining what he intends for a lady to be. Because there are some people that will put a cap on a woman because she has an opinion, because she has a mind of her own, because she's strong, because she's independent. And there's a certain level of independence every woman should have, her own way of thinking where she can't be controlled by the other person. There is a level of strength that every single woman should have. It does not mean that she is not classy. It does not mean that she is not submissive. It just simply means that she wants to be careful about what she submits herself to. So some people sometimes have a doormat mentality of what they think a woman should be like, of what class is for a woman, or what they think submission is for a woman, or what they think discretion is for a woman. It means you shut up and you don't say nothing until I tell you to speak. For some people, that's what they think being a classy and discreet and chaste woman is. Okay, being chaste, being clean, making sure that when you wake up in the morning, you're not just walking outside, like I said, with that bonnet on and you ain't brush your teeth, you ain't take a shower, you ain't done nothing, you got those slippers on, you about to catch an early morning flight and everybody gonna see you looking half crazy. But, just presenting yourself a certain type of way, huh?
I said whole crazy, not half crazy, whole.
Well, right. That's true. Whole crazy. But it's like, but then sometimes the women that's wearing the bonnets and wearing the slippers can be really nice women. They could be really nice, really sweet, but no one would ever know that because they say don't judge a book by its cover. That's great, but make sure the cover looks worthy of being treated a certain type of way. Because think about it, when you first pick up a book, you're going to want to read. If it looks interesting, you're going to read more into it, right? But if you pick up a book and it looks crazy or whatever, you like, oh, let me put that back. I don't even want to entertain that because it don't even look worth my time. So it's the same
Right.
thing with the human being. If you walk around looking like a fool, what make you think people going to treat you like you got wisdom? Like it's just no way in between that. You walking outside loud, hollering, look, right, you better get like you doing all this, and then somebody approach you at first, okay, we got Brother Mark. Greetings. Well, it looks like you wrote a lot, so you may have to go back and cut it off and rewrite some of it again because it always does that. But it's just a matter of The way you carry yourself really allows people to start off with a certain level of understanding of how they should treat you. Because I noticed that as a woman, when you wear skirts or dresses and they're a certain length, like if you got on a mini skirt, you may not get the same respect as a woman that has a longer dress on. And I've noticed, I mean, I've worked around men, not as much, but if I'm just walking by myself and there's a door that needs to be caught or a door that needs to be open, automatically, because of the type of woman that I believe that I am, and carry myself, that door is going to be held open, even if that man is not the most respectful towards women because of whatever. But if he sees something different, it's going to prompt him. Now, if he's just a man that shows chivalry in the beginning, then it doesn't matter what that woman has on. He's going to open that door for her, and that's just a honest thing. Because I know my brothers and my father, they're like that. Like it don't matter if that woman got on a mini skirt or whatever the case may be. They'll make sure that the door is held and they ain't slamming the door in her face. Because she's not dressed right. Like they're
Right.
not like that. They'll hold the door for anybody, male or female. That's just how they are. But some men move more when they see that this woman is of a certain type of character. Oh, snap, let me get the door for her. Head
Mhm.
covered, skirt on. Oh, let me get the door for her. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. And I've seen the most rugged type looking dudes run out of their way to make sure the door is held for me. They didn't want anything. They were just like, oh, let me make sure I don't, leave her out here hanging. Let me grab this door for you, ma'am. Go ahead.
Mhm.
I'm like, "Oh, thank you." Pants sagging, do-rag on, whatever the case may be. Like, I'm not judging them, but the fact that they thought enough to do that, it's like you get respect automatically just simply because of the way you present yourself outwardly first. That's the first thing people see, especially men. That's the first thing that they looking at is just the physical. You carrying yourself a certain type of way, there some of them are gonna, and I've been told that, I honestly, the way I come at you, I can't come at you any kind of way, just by the way you carry yourself. Like I already know I gotta, how you doing, Bev? You doing all right? It's like, I'm doing good. How you doing? Because of the way you present yourself. That's just the first things first. Let me see.
Exactly, and the way that you present yourself shows that you have respect for yourself. Therefore, others will respect you. So, it all comes back to self. Always, always, it always comes back to self. And then you'll see that others will do to you what you're already doing to yourself. You
You
reap
set the
what you
standard.
sow. Exactly.
Exactly. Look, we sound like P and Tamara right there. Okay. But let me see what Sister Yvonne said. She said emphasis on the way you treat others. And that's very, very good because like you were saying earlier about how you treat other people. You treat yourself a certain type of way. And if you treat yourself good, you're going to treat other people good. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just a certain way that you have to do things. Um Automatically that will let people know like, okay, this not only does she treat herself well, but she's going to treat me in a certain type of way, and they expect that every time. You know what I'm saying? They expect that same level of respect every time. So if something is off with you that day and you may respond in a certain type of way, because you've always done good by them, they may not hold it against you. But think about it, if you're treating people badly but yet all they expect that same behavior all the time. And then all of a sudden you treat them well because you're trying to do better, then they'll be like, oh, this is different. Okay, well, hey, then they have to say, okay, well, she ain't mean no more. What's going on with her? So, then they'll change up. But if you're always giving good, hey, how you doing? And I notice that even about myself, and just people in general that I know are always been sweet, like your sisters, just other sisters in the church or just people I've known in general that have always been sweet. If I see that you're having a bad day, I'm not gonna say, she ain't late to the light, she ain't doing this, she ain't doing that. It's gonna be like, well, what's wrong? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's wrong today? Because normally I get this, but
Mhm.
today I'm getting this. Something's wrong. But it's sad when you're always mean to somebody and then you're nice to them and they're like, somebody must have either got a raise on their job or, like what's going on in their life? 'Cause they nice today. Ooh, the sun is out in their life. That's terrible. You know what I'm saying? Especially, I'm not saying that women should be held to a higher standard, but if we're looking for a certain type of class, a certain type of, you know what I'm saying, certain type of way that we should present ourselves as women, but yet you always have this nasty attitude, then of course people are gonna be like, yeah, I ain't fooling with that because I don't got time for it. Like I don't got time for it. Let me see what Brother Mark is saying. Hold on one second. He says the first state of classify for a woman is their development of God's character in them. That's the first state. The embryonic stage start in the womb of their mother. Then the woman character is nurtured and shaped by influences. Then it's up to that person to make wise decisions. It's a beautiful thing of a woman to be strong, courageous, intelligent, but at the same time maintain her feminine character. Many people lose their identity because they're trying to please others, but the key is to please God. If he real, and then I don't know what else was said after that, Brother Mark. So you may have to go back and cut and or copy and paste on to that. But yes, definitely, that's definitely the first step in being a woman, and that's definitely following what God has laid out for us as women. And that's one thing I compare myself to. I don't listen to a lot of people when they talk about what a woman and what a lady should be. And I'm not saying that I disregard what people say, but what I mean by that is I've learned to compare what's already laid out for me. So I do go to God and I do ask God to make me into the lady that He is telling me to be. That way, it won't get mixed up with what maybe somebody learned a long time ago. This is what you do when this happens. And sometimes they could be speaking from a bad place. They may not even be speaking from the right place. But if I see
Mhm.
that someone's intentions are pure and they, have a really good grip on what it means to be properly as a woman and as a lady, that's one of the reasons why I brought you on here because I'm like, man, she's shedding light on stuff that many people probably have never heard before, even in the way that you walk, things like that. Like, what do you mean by the way that you walk? Because people can look at that two ways: the way that you walk, meaning the way that I carry myself, or the way that I actually stride. Like, what exactly do you mean by the way you walk?
Okay, so since you brought both of those up, it's actually both. It
Okay.
really is. So when you're walking, right, you physically, your posture should be very good. Yes. Shoulders down, head up. And you want your chin to be level with the ground. Because if it's like this, then you're being snobbish because
I was about to
your
say
nose is
that.
pointed in the air. And it's like, who can you look at if you're looking like this?
I need to go run
Unless
into a
you're
wall.
short. I'm not going for that.
Tread lightly for the short folks.
No, seriously though. But because you want it like to make sure you're eye level. Whoever you're walking by and stuff, you want to meet them with your eyes, with that gaze, and smize or smile or wave, and that shows warmth. And that's in the way that you carry yourself. You're very intentional about what you're doing, the way, and also the way that you walk. You're not walking like a gangster. You don't have the whole dip and shot type of thing. No, we're not doing that. So you keep you want to keep yourself with this poise to have fluidity when you walk, not to be all stiff. You don't have to be stiff. You can be fluid, and let your feet, legs, and hips do what they have to do so that you're not looking crazy.
Let them lead you. Let them guide you as you walk. Basically floating. You're like floating basically. You're not
Yeah,
trying to take too hard steps, but you're gliding. It's like a glide. My brother told me one time he was walking with me. He was walking me. He was like, "Girl, walking beside you was like walking on a runway. Like I got." He was like, "You just."
exactly.
He said, "You walking, ain't you?" I was like, "Leave me alone." But it was a compliment, but he was laughing about it, but he was like, "You walking, girl, I gotta." And it was my blood brother, of course, so I'm cracking up laughing. I'm like, "Man, you is crazy," because he always got a joke about something. He's like the best youngest brother ever, but he just had me cracking up because I didn't know that I was walking like that all the time. He was like, literally, like, when you're walking, like, you just have this walk about yourself, and you're just getting it every time you go, and it's like, okay, I don't be knowing that I be walking like that, but evidently, that's a good thing. It's better for him to say that than, "Girl, you got a tight stroll, don't you?" Like, I don't want him to be saying
Oh
nothing
no.
like, girl, like, I'm just like, "Okay, no, I don't want that." But yeah, absolutely. Like you said, chin up and, you know, I think me, myself, when I'm focused and I don't wanna be bothered, I walk with my head down. But one thing about me, it's never a lack of confidence that well, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I don't feel good about myself. I don't, everybody's look, it's always like, man, I got to get where I'm going. Like, which I look up, I walk, but then, matter of fact, it may be my eyes are more so down versus my head. Like, my eyes may be to the floor, but of course I'm looking through my peripheral, making sure I'm not running into anybody. But if I'm in a huge crowd of folks, you know how our convocations be. I am not trying to like, be walking like, oh my gosh, I'm just like, oh gosh, there's so many people. Let me just keep myself focused and just boom, like go through this crowd, But of course,
Hmm.
there is a sway that you have, about yourself that shows confidence because you can always tell if someone is not confident based off of the way that they walk. Hold on one second. He says, that's true. Men don't approach a woman whom they respect any type of way. Yes, I've witnessed that more over, and have been told that I'm very intimidating. So they don't even approach me at all. So I'm like, good. That's one less
Girl.
person. That's one, huh?
I said, girl.
Listen, look, that's one less person I got to turn down. That's how I look at it. Um, okay, so he finished it. Many people lose their identity because they're trying to please others. The key is to please God and be down to earth. It's okay to laugh and have fun, not so serious all the time. Exactly. That's why I say if you're gonna be around me, I do not need no sticks in the mud. Like I need someone that
Hmm.
is, somebody laughed at me the other day when I said a stick in the mud. It was like, what in the world does that mean? I'm like, it means that you do not move. You're just right there. You're just, we're not doing this. We're not laughing. We're not having a good time. Stop it. We don't need to do that. That's not okay. No, I don't want to be around people like that. Everybody know, like medical unit staff, anybody that been around me, friends in school, like everybody know, Bev is not the type of person that sit there and have a frozen face all day. I can't do it. It's something in me that's just like laugh. Let's talk about something. Let's make somebody laugh. Or they look quiet. Let me talk to them. Look, let me tell you something. Look, let me tell you, man, blah blah blah. And they just be laughing. I'm like, that's all I needed. Okay, we good. We good. We good. Like I just love that. Like just see people
Bev, are you still there? Or is it me? I'm not sure if it's me or not. But if it isn't me and you guys could still see me, Bev is definitely right, about laughing and having fun and having a good time. Because there is this stereotype that if you're, being. Com- oh,
Okay,
hey!
there we go. Listen, girl, I told you I had my backup plan.
Sure did.
But yes, I do not like being around people that are very stiff and stuck in the mud. So that was definitely a good comment. Let me see what else.
Yeah. And while you
And
were, I was expanding on that there's this type of like stigma that if you're elegant and poised and whatnot, that you have to be serious all the time. And that's not true. Like your femininity is fun, it's carefree, there's fluidity and all of it. It's spontaneous. It can be adventurous. So all of that goes into it. You do not have to be serious all the time. People say that about me. I just have to work on my face. Just smile more. Just smile more. To help.
listen, well, see, I feel like you have to have a balance with that because I feel like they'll take your smile as weakness sometimes because I smile a lot myself. I smile a lot. And I noticed that people don't think that I could get mad or upset about something. It's strange to let stuff go very easily. So that's probably why it doesn't last long when me have an attitude with people. I just be like, okay, it is what it is. But for the most part, I'm just the type of woman where um I smile a lot, but I guess I don't know. I can't really speak on that much because people still tell me I'm intimidating. And I'm like, I just seem like I'm just so fun. So why look me? But everybody I guess have their own opinion on what, I appear to them. So I guess it just depends. Um I do have a question though. Well, Sister Shalom, greetings. I know she's in South Africa. She says, how do you tell a person about yourself as a female without revealing everything and still remain a mystery to them?
That's a great question. So this one you have to give a little bit of thought to. So you have to know what's personal to you, what's private information to you, and what is general information that you would be okay with anybody knowing about yourself, right? So you don't want, even in like in an interview, you don't need to tell someone, oh, I was born on this day, I grew up here, I have so many brothers and sisters, this and the third, blah blah blah. Like that's all about you. Yeah, but that's more on the personal. You want to tell people who you are right now, something that's a little bit like fun, or like something that you're working on at the moment. It doesn't have to be like a goal that's private, you know what I mean? Like, how do I say? Kind of like how I shared a little bit about myself earlier. So, it's more like, I'm a woman who loves to do many things. However, my main goal is to help others be the best version of themselves. You can say something like, in a more casual setting, you can be like, I love to travel. I love eating at many different restaurants. And I love doing whatever helps me to be relaxed and stress free. Something like that, something that's more of what you like to do instead of so personal about you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, basically keeping them on the surface, like not telling them why you are the way you are. Like I could go into all day why I am the way I am and what has shaped me and molded me to be the woman that I am. But some of those things are very personal. Some of those things are very private things that I don't want to share. And
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't mean that I'm trying not to let people get to know me. It just means that I have to make sure you have earned my trust in a way where whatever I tell you has to stay between us, the whole entire time, even when we're mad at each other or even when we never talk to each other again. So you always want to leave people with information, like you said, that you don't mind getting out. That's basically what it comes down to. And there are some people that may not understand what it means to truly be private. And everybody has a different level of privacy, because what I may think is really, really private, somebody else may not think is private. They may think, hey, I
Mm-hmm.
don't really care if people know that, because they may have a certain level of, I don't care what people think about me in their mind. Whereas my level is, it's not that I care about what people think about me. I don't want people to know certain things about me, if that makes sense. So some people may get it twisted. I don't care what people think about me versus I don't want people to know certain things about me because that's my business. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So you have to know the difference between the two. What do you not mind people not knowing about you, and what do you care about? Whether or not you care about what people think. Because if you, there are some people that live in that fear bubble that they care about everything people think. So it doesn't matter what they say. They always go back feeling like, should I have said that? Oh my gosh, that's too much. You have to know that whatever you say, you can't have any regrets afterwards. That's really what it comes down to. Am I going to regret giving them this information? Am I going to regret them knowing that this information was private and now all of a sudden everybody and their grandma may know it because this person may share it? So
Exactly.
I think people sometimes have to even learn what it means to be a private person all over again. But at the same time, I think it just depends on who you are as a person. So if you want certain things to remain a mystery, that's on you, what you want to remain a mystery. Because I may not mind what that is. For me to say, how many siblings I have, and you know things like that at an interview, that's way too much information, of course, because you're talking about my job experience. I'm talking about how I handle certain situations when I'm in trouble situations, things like that. That's what should be said at an interview. But oh, if I have a relationship, oh yeah, I've been in a relationship this long. I have two parents. I have siblings. I have blah blah blah. Some people may look at it and be like, okay, that was too much information. And a job, a manager may look at that and be like, oh, okay, well, I wasn't asking for your personal information. I don't care how old you are. That's none of my business. I want to know about you on a professional level. But in a professional and a personal relationship, that's when I say you have to really know if you're gonna feel a certain type of way after you finish talking to that person. And I think that's the main thing, because I have done that. I have said stuff to people, and after I said something, I was like, should I have said that? And sometimes, Like not that many times, but there was this one time when it became a whole big drama around something that I said. And it wasn't something too personal. It wasn't something too personal. It was just something that I said that I didn't want to get out, but it let me know that that person took what I said and they took it the wrong way and they got out there and it was like, oh my gosh, like what in the world? Like they know good and well, like I didn't want that person to know that. And they took the information and made it out to be way more than what it was. And it
Mm-hmm.
was really something lightweight. So sometimes you can't even share the lightweight stuff, you know, without somebody doing something, you know.
Mm-hmm. And
Sister
yet
Ivana said, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
okay. To add to that, um, what you tell people, I'm not sure if she meant it like on an introductory level or something like that, but you want to create your own brand, your own image. So when you meet someone for the first time or you're getting to know someone and they're new and whatnot, you want to create your own brand, your own image for them. So it sounds kind of weird. However, it's something that you know you're going to have to take time and develop yourself. You might have to practice it a bit. I do. There's no shame in it, you know? So, yeah, write down some things that you like about yourself that you would want other people to know, you don't mind people to know, and then go based off of that.
Basically, and that's a good way to do it actually. Me, I guess I just been, how can I say it? I'm a talker. Like that's what I do. And I'm about to read this next comment in a few. Greetings, Sister Tamika. She says greetings to us. Um, and I'm a talker. So I'm a surface talker though. Like there are a lot of things that I don't share about myself, but I will talk about the weather. I'll talk about the things that I love. That's just me. And I think when I meet new people or I'm around new people that I haven't been around a lot, I put myself out there in a way where they see in one conversation, I will show my militant side, I will show my sweet side, I will show my caring side, I will show my sensitive side all in one conversation sometimes because I want to go ahead and let you know right now because I don't have time to waste being around a whole bunch of people figuring out for a long period of time if I should even be around them. So I go ahead and put myself out there and I share limited things, but I share it from maybe a business perspective. And I show that maybe that aggression and, you know, how I go after business or how I do certain things. And I monitor the eyes of those I'm talking to. And in the eyes of those, I can tell whether there's intimidation, whether there's, she's a little too much for me, like all that stuff. Like, and the reason why I do that is because I don't have time to be around people that I don't really want to be around. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to be able to trust yourself around people that you're around. You want to be able to know that the people you're around can handle you. So I put a little bit of every part of me out there. And as I see who is dealing with it and how they're dealing with it, that lets me know I can come back and hang out with this person again. I'm telling you, because my sister would tell me, she was like, girl, you didn't set folks up. They didn't thought that you was going to be able to hang out with them, that they were going to hang out with you. And you already done said, no, I'm good, sis. Oh, I'm good, bro. Oh, we cool. It's all right. You set them up. Like they really thought that y'all was going to be able to hang out. And I'm just like, I can't. I can't. Because I just feel like life is too short to be around people that you got to question whether or not you should be cool with them. I don't like
Right.
that. So I put bits and pieces of myself out there, but that's my way of trying to protect myself, you know what I'm saying, from being hurt
Mm-hmm.
in the future and knowing like what type of person I'm dealing with without giving them too much information, kind of sort of. So I
Right.
don't know if that made sense, but I put myself out there in bits and
It
pieces.
does. You have to
Okay.
test them and vet them, you know. So
Yes. Let them decide whether or not I'm too much. Am I? Let me stop. Sister Ivana says sometimes when you're connecting with someone, it's easy to start rambling. Sometimes I pray for guidance on what to say and what not to say if I feel like I may go too far. Exactly. And that's one thing that I have learned about myself too. You're just around somebody for the first time, you start talking about different stuff. You may even share something that you may not, know, oh man, maybe I shouldn't have shared that, but it's not on purpose. um, and you may feel bad about it. It may not even be that deep, but it may be something that you may feel like you should have waited to share once you have learned that they were trustworthy enough to even have that information. So, um, but as a woman, we live and we learn, right? That's really what it is. We live and we learn, And just let me see. Sister Tamika says sometimes you got to be careful who you share as well as what you share. Um, exactly. And that's exactly what we were expounding on. And yes, discernment is what she said. Exactly. Without being judgmental. Because just because somebody may be looking like, ooh, don't mean that they can't handle you as a person. They may not have, it may, what you may have told them may have shocked them that you even went through it, if that makes sense, or that you're even, making those statements. Because, I can be a very direct person, and very, hardcore with my words sometimes. I've had to work on that over the years just to be a little bit more gentle with the way I say things, so
Mm-hmm.
that I can still maintain my femininity and not look like a bully, or someone that's just ready to beat somebody over the head. But if you a man, if you and listen, ain't no. Well, it just depends because there's a certain way that you are supposed to respect the men. Don't get me wrong, but if you coming at me in a certain type of way, and I feel a certain type of way. Look, I didn't been around like rough guys like my whole life. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Mm-hmm.
automatically like a female bark in me. It's not a man bark because I'm a woman. So my bark is gonna be different. But if there's a certain approach, then I feel I have to protect myself a certain type of way. I would be like, hold up now, who like it may be a how do we say it's like a like I forgot what dance that was back in the day, but it was kind of like it was like a share type thing, where you may have to like stand up in a certain type of way to let them know like I'm not a doormat to you, like this is what it is. um but of course there's a certain type of way that I do it, and as a woman it should never come across like I'm trying to be a man or anything like that. It should definitely come across still in a feminine aspect, but with a tone that lets you know that don't disrespect me, basically.
Right. 100%.
Let's see. So the Shalom says that was really helpful. Thank you so much. Yes, both being around people and on an introductory level.
Perfect.
Um, Sister Ivana says blunt. I think that's responding to, yeah, I can be blunt. Definitely blunt. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. Blunt. Definitely just straight and head on with folks. And Brother Mark says, don't forget street smarts. Exactly. Being street smart as a woman is important. You have to know the street so that you will not be duped. You know what I'm saying? Like I've
Mm-hmm.
watched, being called a savage made me laugh because it's like they know like, okay, Bev, she's not going for just anything. Like she's just not. I don't care how much a woman she is. I don't care how sweet she can be. I don't care how nice she could be. She knows when I'm being foolish. Like she knows when I'm trying to do something that I ain't got no business doing, or saying something, looking for a certain reaction, things like that. So I think the street smarts, just understanding, when things are trying to be put over on you, when somebody's trying to manipulate you, when someone, and if you don't mind, Brother Mark, just go into a little more detail on what you mean by street smarts. Because some people can have a different definition of what it means to be street smart. But go ahead.
I have a question.
Okay.
So, for me, when I'm thinking of street smarts, I'm really thinking of the education that you get, like being in the hood and like
Mm-hmm.
in an environment where it's not. I don't know what. I don't know how to say it. However, there's just this certain type of education that you get being in like tough surroundings where you can be in the hood and there are like, I don't know, possible like dangerous things going on and whatnot that you have to be mindful of. And there's some of us who have not grown up in that environment and who know nothing about it. So how do we learn about stuff like that? Are there books? Like I don't think someone, it's possible someone could have written about it, you know what I mean?
They
But
could have.
like I feel like street smarts is like a secret and you have to have lived it to know it. And I'm like, I'm not one of those people. Like, of course I want to know it. So I'm not, being ignorant about certain things. However, I'm like, where do I gain this education? It's
Right.
not.
And I definitely understand that. I did grow up in the hood. I did grow up in the hood. Actually, it was one of the hood where the Crips were embedded, basically. But one thing about it, I grew up still a tad bit sheltered because we were church girls, and but at the same time.
I think Sister Ivana says survival type mentality, basically how to survive in the streets and things like that. But I think as time went on, just knowing how not to be so, what's the word I'm looking for, gullible or open. I think when it comes down to being street smart, you have to really question things where you're not easily giving in to certain type of talk or one of the type of guys that really bother me, and I think it's because maybe I have that sense of street smarts that really drives me crazy, but a smooth type man, a man that's real smooth, gets on my last nerves. And what I mean by that is I don't trust a man that seems overly smooth. Like it may sound crazy, but like when pastor tells us to listen to the rhythm of words, like there is a certain type of approach that some street men may take on you. And you can always tell that there is a certain level of um street smarts that he has that if you're not careful, and it's not just a men thing, women have street smarts where they can get over on anybody that they choose as well, and that's because they've learned it and they know exactly what to do and they know exactly how to con you and get you out of your money or whatever. Not
Mhm.
believing every story you hear. Somebody walk up to you in the hood, tell them, man, my light's about to get turned off, blah blah blah. They come at you in different ways, so you may not realize you have at least a little bit of that in you, and it necessarily may not even be just from being in the hood, but it may be just your encounters throughout seeing homeless people, or everybody with a sign up that say I'm homeless don't mean that they homeless. They may have a Benz, they have a doggone, you know 6 story mansion or whatever the case may be,
Mhm.
but they just looking like that to get over on people. um and it's just a way of, like I said, not believing everything you hear, not latching on to every last compliment that you're given, because sometimes compliments can be a way to lure you into a certain type of thing that they want to get over on you. Oh, you look real nice, blah blah. How you doing? You want me to blah. It's like I don't even know why I've always been like that, but I've always told people I don't like dudes that are too smooth, because what are you trying to do? What are you trying to get over on me at? Why are you talking like that? What you need? What you want? Like that's just what do you want? No, you look nice. Okay, thank you. And keep it moving. Like that's just, I've always been like that. My friends will tell you, like, if my friends in college, they will always say, Bev, you always have this way of just saying no to everybody. I'm like, because like I've seen my dad and them turn down people many a days. And I'm not talking about from that perspective, but like asking for stuff or trying to get things. It's like, no, because I already see where you're coming from and I'm not dealing with that. So it kind of taught me to keep my guard up. It kind of taught me not to be so easily given into the cry of a person that says they hungry. Okay, you hungry? Let me give you this sandwich that I just bought. Instead of me eating and you eat that. I don't really want that. Well, you're not hungry then. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like you're not, it's like, and it's not even just from a homeless type perspective. It's just from a perspective of just seeing people, you know, trying to get money and they, oh, my bills need to be paid, my rent. Oh, it just could be just anything. But it's also, like she said, a survival mentality, knowing how to make it out in the world without, you know, looking like you just so easily give in to every little thing, every little cry, every little request, every man that compliments, every woman that compliments you too, because sometimes she could be trying to get over on you as well. Oh, you look really nice. Oh my gosh, you look like you go to church. You look like you trying to live a life. That's good, because most people ain't. I've been going through some things lately. Up there we go. Nope, no thank you. All right. Like you trying to use the way I live and the way I dress as against me, and that's not okay with me. Let me see. Brother Mark says you have to know how to adjust. Oh, I'm sorry. Sister Tamika says not being naive and easily fooled. He says you have to know how to adjust to your environment, knowing when somebody's being genuine and knowing when somebody's being slick, and who you got to step to straighten out, basically.
How do you know that? We need a 9101 course or something because I don't know. I mean, of course,
Exactly.
like there's been some experiences that I've went through where I can be like, okay, I've learned from that one, not this time. However, there is so much more. There's so much more, and I'm just like,
Well, I think also being street smart is basically asking those hard questions. If you see something that bothers you or see a red flag, asking those questions that are really, really hard. You know what I'm saying? Like you could have a friend that's cool, right? Or you think they're your friend, but they're doing certain things that make you question their loyalty or question their genuineness towards you. Ask a question like, hey, what's going on with this? Because I know that this has been going on. I just want to know, like, what's up with this? And sometimes they end up exposing themselves that they really truly weren't even genuine towards you. They just used
Mhm.
you for whatever they wanted to use you for. You know what I'm saying? And then on the opposite end, it could be with the man that could be, very complimentary or very, let me get the door for you. Let me do this for you. I'm not quick to show my teeth all the time. Like men will see me in passing, and although I'm a very sweet person, I try to be. I put it that way. I have this edge that I automatically go into. I went downtown Charlotte like the last week or so, and instantly when I went downtown, my face goes from, oh my gosh, the weather feels so great, to watching my surroundings. You know what I'm saying? Like not so quick to give into, hey, how you doing? I know he ain't talking to me. And that's exactly what I did. As soon as I got down there, I'm like, oh, hey, how you, the looks and the, I know he's not talking to me. Keep walking, Beth. Like, I just have to do that because there is a certain look that you're given, if you look like you don't know where you're going. You know what I'm saying? So you have to put your face on. You know what I'm saying? That face, I do this thing where I rise my right eyebrow a lot. When I don't know my surroundings, I rise my right eyebrow. I'm just like, keeping a serious look. And then if someone seems to be approachable to me, just based off experience, how you doing? Kind of do a little bit of a smile where you're not, hi. Then they like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm about to grab her purse. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but
Stop.
you gotta have a certain level of, like I do that. I kind of do the gentle, respectful, how you doing? Get people like, oh, okay, well, all right, well, let me not approach her any kind of way because I don't know whether she know karate or not. She might kung fu. So I don't know. I've been watching too many Jet Li and Jackie Chan, but don't play with me now. Like, but it's just a way of keeping your guard up, basically. To me, street smarts does involve keeping your guard up. Not to the point where, you're so unapproachable, but to the point where people are careful about how they approach you. Let me see. Sister Tamika, exactly. Too smooth equate to hustler or user vibes. And then Sister Shalom says the course for that is really needed. Exactly. Acknowledging the red flags and calling it out as soon as you spot it. Like I was saying earlier, when you see the red flags, don't ignore them. Brother Mark says, my sister, you are saying the answer, experience make you peep game. As they say in the street, it's a game. You to know play. Wait, hold on, wait. You know to play in order to move correctly. So it's a game. You have to know the game, basically. So basically,
I don't want to learn.
Sister Esther wants to know, yes, you do need to learn the game. That's how you don't get over on.
Well, what I meant was I don't
Go ahead. What is it that you're trying to say?
I don't want to have to experience any of that.
Oh, okay. I know what you mean. But in order to lessen your chances of experiencing it, you must learn the game.
That's true. But how do you have to be
so
in
basically,
the
Brother Mark,
game
how does she learn the game? What are some things, what are some key factors that can let someone know that they're not being that someone is not being genuine, that someone is trying to get over on them? Basically lying. Like if you catch somebody in a lie multiple times, or you're trying to get the truth out of them and they're not giving it to you, then they're trying to deceive you in some type of way, and they don't want you to know the real them. You know what I'm saying? So if you are constantly having to ask maybe the same question over and over again, it don't even have to be a way of where people would approach you on the street. People could do you wrong in a way that deceives you, and they're in the church not even trying to live a street life, but they're just being dishonest, or they're trying to get over on you about something or someone. Let me see, hold on. Sister Ivana says, I think being extremely observant of yourself and others you interact with can help you learn when you're being naive, if that makes sense. So let's say you have learned a lesson. So now the lesson that you have learned in the past from a situation that you found yourself being naive in, you have to apply that lesson to the next situation. Sometimes we get the same test over and over because we haven't mastered the lesson yet.
That's true. And then there are times where you go through a certain experience And because you went through that experience, you're able to create those boundaries that are necessary to deal with other things. So those things most likely won't happen again because of the fact that you had those specific boundaries set in place. Right? Right.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yep. That keeps you from going back into it. You're right. Sister Tamika says exactly. I can't remember what she was responding to, but yes, it's a blessing and sometimes a curse. Oh, Sister Tatiana is still up with us. I know it's late over there. I think it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. My sister Wanda says it's life. You need that experience so you can spot foolishness from a mile away. It takes me 5 minutes and I can tell whether I will deal with the person long or short term. And that's the God honest truth.
That's
And
beautiful.
that's exactly how, but sometimes you may meet someone's I tell people all the time, Brother Mark, you already know, bring it straight up. Like no beating around the bush. Well, matter of fact, simplify it first. Simplify it first, and maybe we can grasp it if you simplify it. And then if you want to add more details, then you can do it that way too.
Oh yes, please do. Go ahead.
Yeah, but like Wanda said, yeah, I can definitely like spot something, you know, see something the way someone's carrying themselves and how they're doing certain things, and I'd be like, yeah, no. That's why I told you my sister said I'd be setting folks up because they be thinking they about to hang out with me for a lifetime, and I'd be looking at them like, yeah, no, this your last and final moment with me. Because and I had just met them. I'm telling you, they're okay. All right, I'm going to give this example. So I met this gentleman, and I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to go into detail with the whole situation, but all he did was ask me how old I was. After a little bit of conversation, he asked me how old I was, and I ain't gonna lie, I lied to be funny. I was like, at the time I was 25, but I said I'm 15 because I already knew just based off of what he asked me and how he asked me. I was like, what you want? I'm 15. And he started laughing because he already knew I had caught on to the fact that he was about to be a fool. And I was just like, I said, no, I'm actually 25. I said, like, what? Why? Why? And I asked him, why? Well, I'm just asking. Yeah, I know why you're asking. And the answer is no. Like, no.
For something like that, that's one of the boundaries, that I've set up, and I would stress that every woman were to set up, is to not give away your age so easily. Like, people, especially guys, they always like, how old you are, or how old are you? Because I'm sorry. Anyhow.
My thing of the matter is why, like, okay, I get it. They want to ask you your age because they want to make sure that, I guess that they're not about to be a pedophile out here, so to speak, or,
Right.
That you're not underage, because women do, like I myself, I look very young. I look very young sometimes, not all the time. I look young for my age in general though. So it can kind of like, they want to make sure, because sometimes it would be like 10 or 20 years, and separation. Sometimes I'm 40 and then I'm 20 years old. They're like, oh, because ever since I was 16, I've always attracted men that were at least 10 years older than me. Not that I talked to none of them because I just felt like it was very strange. But but when I got in my 20s, I was still attracting men in their late 30s, and early 40s. And I'm like, okay, but y'all old enough to be my dad. Like, when I wasn't even here, y'all was already going to high school. Like, were y'all okay with that? So it was just weird to me. So I'm always careful, and I don't like the fact that people will ask you how much you weigh, how old you are, and how tall I am. It's none of your business how tall I am, or they're like, you short anyway. I don't care. It's none of your business how short I am either. I'm so private about stuff that people don't even be private about.
But those are questions that you just don't ask a woman. Like, those are like fighting words, okay? You don't ask those things.
Exactly. And I don't think some men be like, well, why can't I ask you how old you are? Because I think it's like, very private. Like, that's my age. Like, why do you want to know how old I am? Like,
right.
None of your business.
And there's like so many stereotypes that, like, if you just give a number out for age, there's so many stereotypes just automatically assigned to you based on your age, based on your weight, your height, all this other stuff. And it's like, they're numbers. You need to judge me based off something
who I am,
that's more internal. Exactly. 100%.
Yeah. Let me see. Oh, he says no good for nothing men prey on church sisters to get into their draws. because they can leave that they can see that they are naive, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that says that one.
Yeah, seriously. And he said that's an example, basically. Like, that's what it is. They come looking for a certain type of sister, a certain type of woman. I'm telling you, I haven't really been like dealing with that, thank God, because I just know, like I said, I've been told I'm very intimidating, but I've always told my sisters and them, men pick their prey just like women pick their prey. Women pick their prey. They looking for the gullible man that, got all the money that they want to get a check from. They want to get a check from. Oh, thank God, that's finally. Um, so they look for their prey just like men look for theirs. Like, okay, who can I, you know, spot out that seems so into God that they won't know that I'm a fool.
Stop.
Seriously, seriously. Just like women, I'm a who Okay, all right, let me see. Who I can tell is a faithful tithe payer. He got money. All right, okay. Oh, he always shouting. Okay, all right. He doing this, he doing that. Oh, he real quiet. Oh, okay. Like, I'm telling you, they spot out they prey. They know who they looking for. And they know what to look for. So that's the thing. That's where if we don't have street smarts, we will fall right into that same trap. Because if we don't know what to look for as far as people that are users, manipulators, narcissists, if we don't know these characters and these traits of these people, we get used and abused. Like, I can tell if someone is interested in being around me because of people that are drawn to me. Like, if someone is around me simply because of who I am, at like, oh, that's Isabel. Oh, I'm gonna be around her. Everybody seems to love her. Okay, well, let me get to know her too. Or, I like Sister Bev. I'm interested in her. Why? She's popular. Okay. So she could be a fool for all you know. You know what I'm saying? You don't know why she's popular. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
it's not because I put myself out there. It's like, Brother Mark said, it works both ways. That's one reason why I pay online. He pays tithes online. So
That's so funny.
that tithes envelope look thick.
It could be a whole bunch of ones. Stop playing.
$50 worth of ones right there. Look, he only get $500 on that paycheck, honey. He only got $50 for 10%. Okay. But seriously though, like, if people, because I have learned that, like, some people would just be around me because of the fact that I sing, or the fact that their friends are like, they think I'm nice, so they want to be around me because their friends are around me. I don't have to be friends with my sister's friends. Like, I don't have to love my sister's friends. I have to love them, but I don't have to be around them because they're friends with my sister. But if I see that my sister is not around good people, I'm like, listen, you might want to, no. Like, they know me. I'm very honest. If I feel like they're around somebody that doesn't mean them any good, I would tell them that, just like they would tell me the same thing. And
Right.
whether or not I listen, it's on me. But at least they
Mhm.
told me. So it's a thing of just being around. Like, you can spot out certain stuff, and maybe that's where it comes from. When I was in high school and college, man, I didn't care who was around me. I didn't worry about none of that. I'm just like, I'm gonna be Bev. I don't care. If you jealous, you jealous. If you're not, you not. If you cool, you cool. If you whack, you whack. Whatever people can define whack as being. But
Mhm.
it's like, I just didn't care. I was always gonna be me, and I'm still gonna be me. But now I have learned to trim the hedges of my life, basically, not allowing people to be around me because they feel as though they should, or they want to pull. People will pull from you and never give you anything. They will be around you, and that's how like, people just want to be around you to benefit in their own lives. They don't care about you. I've been around people that love to be around me because they want to take from me, or they want to be me.
Mhm.
And
That
you
was
learn
it.
that real quick. Like, why you want to be me? You don't think you're good enough to be you? I'm already taken. And trust me, the
Yeah.
stuff I've been through and the person that I am, you don't want to deal with that. You don't want to be that, because there's more than to Bev than the smile and the singing. There's something behind that singing. I ain't just singing I owe God the praise just because, I just woke up and, everything is all right in the world. Sometimes I'm singing, I owe God the praise, because no matter what I'm dealing with, he still deserves it. You know what I'm saying? So people can look at you and see you a certain type of way, and automatically they put you in this certain boat in their head and in their mind. Oh, you're a I've been called a hot commodity before. Like, you're very desirable. That's what I've been called before. And I had to literally say, I don't care about that. I care about being valued, not desired. Because everybody can desire an iPhone and can go buy that iPhone, but not everybody knows how to value it and take care of it. That's why you got so many folks around here with a broken, cracked screen, hurting their doggone fingers because they didn't drop the iPhone, they done this, they done that, because they don't know how to take care of it. So I don't care about being someone that seems to be popular, or that stuff don't faze me. I'm too old for all that. Like, I want to be around people that respect me just like I respect them. And it's a thing of just the way I carry myself. Yeah, I strive to carry myself in a manner that receives respect automatically, but I'm not looking to people to respect me unless I definitely know how to, basically, I'm not looking for people to respect me, because I just try to carry myself in a way where I automatically get it, if that makes sense. But I'm not going to go out of my way. If you don't respect me, bye.
Right.
Now, how do we get on this? I don't even know. Hold on one second. Brother Mark said,
It was by comment.
Huh?
It was by comment. That's fine.
That's true. We know the hook comes out at times, especially when an Hebrew Israelite showed up in North Carolina. Exactly. The hook, as far as like, that side that you got to be like, what? Like, what's going on? Yeah, because they literally were parked. They were literally, their microphone and their speaker was right there behind the trunk of my car. And I had to walk over there, and I was not afraid. I said, Lord, they better not mess with me, because that side of Bev that come out, they're not going to want to see. Excuse me. That's exactly what I said when I walked over there. I was like, excuse me. Like, I can't even get in my car. Y'all in the way. Move.
That's crazy.
I didn't say all that, but I was just like, excuse me. And I did have someone walk over there with me. And it was very peaceful. I thank God for that. Get away from my car, though. But, it's just a matter of just still being a lady, even, and we can wrap all of that right back up into that. Just still carrying yourself as a woman, even though you're street smart, there's still a level of it, because sometimes you need to be low-key street smart. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes they may think they about to get away with something, but you'll automatically just stem it out like, oh yeah, I saw that. Now what is this about? And they be like, oh, she saw that. Oh, they recognize that? Yeah, I did. So I'm not stupid. You thought I was, but I'm not. So having it undercover is a good thing too. But sometimes you do have to stand it up in people's faces up front, because you can see the way they're coming at you. But sometimes if you don't catch it right away, you may catch it on the back end, and that's when you can show that you're not gullible. You're not naive. So as a woman, we have a lot to defend. We have a lot to defend, and we have to protect ourselves at all times from anyone, and including ourselves, and how we carry ourselves and how we love ourselves. And just basically remembering what type of woman we are regardless. So, I'm sorry. I know I talked a lot. I know this was, I know you're shy. You're an introvert, right? So
wait, I'm not necessarily shy.
I wouldn't use the word shy. I'm sorry. But I would say, extroverts, we'll talk a lot more than I do listen though. Don't get me wrong. I do listen. I do listen. But when I'm passionate about stuff, I seem to over talk. Let me see. Brother Mark said it's called the setup. You set up people who trying to set you up and catch them in the trap. Oh yeah, we learned some stuff today.
Sure.
We learned some stuff today. Hi, Sister Merlene. Hi. Oh my gosh, I so love her.
We didn't even barely talk about etiquette. What is
I
this?
know, because we got off track. So let's go ahead and dive back into that for a little bit. And then what else would you like to add to a woman being showing a certain type of etiquette? I do think that was still good though, because it can kind of tie into the way a woman should do. Like Brother Mark said, he said having street smarts is still a part of etiquette too, because we got to know how to not be duped and fooled. But go ahead.
Yes, and it's a perfect way to set up those boundaries too, to have the street smart, so things don't happen. But there's just a lot that goes with etiquette. There's, you
Okay,
know,
well, give us some more. You can't just say there's a lot. I
I
brought you
was
on here.
going to.
Okay, okay,
Wait
okay.
a
I'm
second.
sorry. I'm sorry. I thought you were about to say it's a lot. I really don't know how to say it. Okay, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
no,
gonna shut
no.
up. Go ahead.
There's dining etiquette. There's
Yeah.
like relationship etiquette. There's mindset etiquette.
What's
Typically,
mindset etiquette?
so it's a way that you take control of your thoughts, of your mind, so that you can exude like elegance and confidence, because it all starts internally. If you're
Okay.
not thinking these thoughts, if you're not, you know, is it affirming or confirming? This is why English is my language. However,
Affirming.
yes,
Like
affirming those things.
affirmations.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
So things within yourself, that's like the starting point of it all. And, building that mental and emotional strength, that's still all a part of etiquette and everything like that. Did I mention dining etiquette? And
Yes, you
just,
did.
I did, okay. And also, network etiquette, how to greet others, how to, we talked about it a little bit before when Sister Shalom was asking about how do you, introduce yourself as a female. But, networking on like a business
Yeah.
aspect of things. We talked about the sitting and walking. There's, how to get into a car. There's proper
Yes.
etiquette for
I've
that.
learned to get into a car with both your legs together and you slide your back in first and then you swoop around to the front. At least that's what I
Correct.
was taught.
Yes. So your
Okay.
bottom goes in first, and then your legs together go in at the same time. Swing in, swing out. Also, seating when you're going to sit anywhere, there is an etiquette. So you fold your skirt or your dress underneath before you sit, and things like that. There's also communication etiquette. When someone gives you a compliment, you always say thank you, except if it's those people who've been crazy. Like that post that I posted and the reel that I posted on Instagram, where it's those people who are seeking attention and it's wrongful attention, then you pay them no mind. Because
Okay.
you're
So what type of example would you give in that they're seeking wrongful attention? What do you mean by that?
So, based off what we talked about earlier, if you're walking somewhere and some guy just comes up to you and be like, "Oh, you look real nice," or "You're built nice," or this, that, and the third, you don't pay them any mind. You show no teeth. You don't look their direction. You just keep walking. Stuff like that. Because
Hey, Miss Lady, I know you heard me.
and you just keep walking and don't hesitate in your step, because then they see that little hesitation, they know they got your attention. You don't give them that at all. Your attention is a limited resource, and it's not earned by everyone. Even though people are gonna try and steal it, it's
Yeah,
not earned by everyone.
that's
You know.
true. Now, when
Yeah.
you say relationship etiquette, we'll step into that for a little bit. I normally try my best not to talk about relationships, and the reason being is because that can be a doozy within itself, and so many people have been burned and treated disrespectfully, and all that
Mm-hmm.
good jazz. That's I don't want to make this the platform for people to express their bad experience.
Right.
Because I do know that there are still good men in this land, just like there are still good women in this land. And I
That's
never
true.
want to paint a bad picture of either or based off of people's experiences, bad experiences.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead. Go ahead when you say relationship etiquette. What exactly are you referring to?
So relationship etiquette entails a lot to do with chivalry, right?
Okay.
So who's the head of the relationship and how you work together as a team, who's not necessarily okay. So we know that there's roles and everything. However, we're not trying to be territorial always with it, because you can't just be 50-50 all the time. That's not going to work. It's just
And what
not.
do you mean by 50-50? Because I don't think I've ever heard. Well, I ain't gonna say I've never heard. I've heard people say 50-50, but in my mind, it's like you give 100, and then, so exactly what do you mean by 50-50?
Exactly. That's exactly what it is, because you can't just give half of yourself and the other person gives half of their self. That doesn't work.
Yeah, I think people put it as we meet halfway, basically down the middle. Like we split everything down the middle. I think people are splitting finances, they're splitting the responsibilities, they're
Mhm.
splitting things. I think when they say 50-50, I don't really see that as people meaning that they're giving half of themselves. But I think when it comes down to a whole relationship, the whole relationship should be 100%. But I think what they're saying is we're going to meet each other halfway. At least that's the way I take it sometimes. I don't necessarily take it as they're going to give half of themselves. They're going to give, they're going to meet that other person down the middle with everything that needs to be done. But I do get it like 100, 100. Like I'm going to give 100% of my role and what I need to do to,
Mhm.
make sure that I'm doing my part and, making sure that I'm happy first and foremost. And then I'm giving you what you need to be happy as well. And then there are some days when you just, may not be able to give that 100%. You may be giving 70, so they may have to give 130, to keep
Right.
things up. So, yeah. So I don't know. Like I hear that. I think that's my first time hearing somebody go into that statement of giving half of themselves. Should I say?
But yeah, that was it. And also yes, piggybacking off what you went off, every single day you can't give. I'm not gonna say you can't. There's just some times where you're just unable to give all of yourself. So it's going to be, the other person is going to have to give a little bit more um to help you out, you know. It can be for a variety of different things, especially like emotional things that you might go through, or like say further along the line, when they're married and whatnot and she's pregnant, like the guy is gonna sometimes have to give a little bit more because of what she's dealing with, things like that, things like that.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. Wanda says she's enjoying the great conversation this morning, ladies. Well, thank you. Brother Mark, here we go. Look, he said relationship. Can you relate to the cargo or baggage that I'm carrying? Because we all have baggage. That is true.
That's 100%, yes.
Absolutely. And as a woman, our expectations on how we should handle, any type of baggage should definitely be with grace. And just like the man, it should definitely be with grace because nobody comes from a squeaky clean background. Even if you've never been in a relationship before, there is still something in your life that has made you the way you are that could be seen as baggage. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Like everybody has to be gentle with the other person and forgiving and understanding. Even if you don't understand, you should still be understanding. Whereas understanding that this is something that this person has been through that has shaped them this way, that has made them behave a certain way. So you have to understand and that, okay, well, now you've pointed it out to them that you don't appreciate this. So now they have to uh, go through the channels it takes to overcome that, to not bring that along with you, if that makes sense. But there's a
Mm-hmm.
way to do it and to not pass it off like, man, like, because not everything is a deal breaker. Like, everybody has their deal breakers and things like that. Things that, everybody wants respect. That's just automatically across the board. They should want respect. But it's not always going to be something that is automatically like you may want somebody to respect a way you think, but what if the way you think is not healthy for that relationship or things like that? It's like, you have to basically readjust to the fact that what you're doing to that person, the way you're thinking, is not really showing respect to that person. So you have to readjust in that aspect. Like, you can respect that the way that person think is different from you, but if it's doing something, and that's the way I do try to think. I love being myself, but if something I'm doing is hurting someone else, then I must refrain from doing that towards them that disrespects them, even though I'm still being myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't just say, oh, Esther, I'm just going to talk to you any kind of way because this is just me. This is just what I do. But yet you're hurting by what I'm saying. Like, it takes a really like crazy person to think that they should continue being themselves in that aspect when what they're saying is hurting someone. So there are things that we have to change within ourselves to show that. And there's, like I said, a certain level of grace and patience, that one must have, that really allows that relationship to bloom if that's the one that you should actually even be with. And that's
Mhm.
a whole nother story. That's why I'm just like, that's why I don't talk about relationships, because there's so much that you could
There
say.
really is.
It's so much. Like, do you really even need to be with this person? Is this a deal breaker? Is this a red flag? Is this something that you really want to put up with for the rest of your life? And it doesn't mean put up with, but embrace is the word I'm looking for. Because you got to put up with anything, then you got to ask yourself, like, really? But if it's just someone being who they are, but it doesn't affect you negatively, then that's something that you have to embrace, that that's just who they are.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But if it damages your relationship or damages you as a person, then that's when you have to say, this is a deal breaker, or this is a red flag for me. Let's talk about this. And if there's change after you talk about it, then that's when you can move forward and understand that that person at least took your feelings into consideration and they're changing a behavior. So, oh, okay, well, all right, well, I can deal with that. But if you're
Mhm.
saying this is who I am and I ain't changing that and this is what it is and I don't care how you feel about it, so my feelings don't matter. Okay. All right. She says, got to go, ladies. Great talk. I know we've been on here for an hour and 34, but it doesn't even seem like we've been on here that long. But also, oh, hold on one second. Oh, yeah. So Marlene said, exactly. Everyone has a level of baggage. Great convo. Then that's what Ivana says. Peace be unto you too, sis. And Brother Mark says, Mother King taught me something years ago. Sometimes you cannot be yourself in a relationship because it may hurt the other person. You have to know how to make adjustments to make a relationship work. And I can definitely agree to disagree to some of that. Not that I disagree with everything, but I do agree that you cannot be yourself, like I said, if it hurts the other person, like he said. But as far as being yourself in a relationship, there are certain parts of you that should always remain the same, if that makes sense. Because sometimes somebody could just be hurt that you are who you are, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like let's say you're a confident person, male or female, and the other person is insecure, and you're carrying yourself in a certain type of way, and it's getting you attention that you're not asking for. That person may want you to stop being who you are so that they can feel comfortable, if that makes sense. And in that case, I'm not hurting you. You're just hurt that I'm being who I am. You're not even doing anything in particular. You're not going out intentionally. You're not going after that attention that you're getting. None of that. You're still catering to that person and still being good to that person and still being true to that person. But
Mhm.
their insecurities is so overwhelming to them that they can't handle your light that you have. So then that's when you have to say, I can't stop being me when I've shown you that I'm not doing anything to violate us.
Right.
So that's when you
That.
have like, okay, I agree with that though. Like there are certain things. If I know I'm teasing someone that I'm in a relationship with and I'm teasing them about a certain thing that's very sensitive to them, then yeah, I have to like, okay, dang, I'm always teasing people, but I can't tease you about this. Then I can't
Mhm.
do that towards you because that hurts you.
Exactly.
So there's a
Right.
difference. You don't want to
Yes.
lose yourself, but you definitely want to change those things that hurt other people. And that's in any relationship, not just husband and wife or girlfriend and, well, I ain't gonna say girlfriend and boyfriend, but sister and brother, or just in a work relationship, whatever it is. Like, you have to monitor those things because some people can
Right.
just be insecure too.
Right. And I can also, if it's not affecting your standards, if it's not requiring you to bring your standards down low or to break your morals or your beliefs, and it's something that, you can either change within yourself and you can still be happy with who you are, then I feel like, that's a good thing that you can make that adjustment, that change within yourself so that you and this other person can live together, in harmony and, be the people you gotta be.
Absolutely. Sister Marlene says the problem with adjustments in a relationship, you may feel like you are losing yourself, and that sucks. There needs to be a level of balance. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I'm used to just being crazy all the time, but but I can't bring that craziness if it's gonna look bad on the person that I'm with. Like, I have to bring a certain level of craziness still, but I have to. It's like being a woman. At home, you can be goofy, you can be whatever, whatever, but out in public, there's a certain level of discretion you should have. Now, I do have craziness in public, but it's only with certain people that I can be very close with. In a conversation, I'm just busting out laughing with them, and we just having a really good time, just being crazy. But
Mhm.
there is a certain way that I still have to present myself in public where I'm not embarrassing anyone. Does that make sense?
It does.
Sister Merlene says I'm crazy too. But I think that's the thing. It's like I know that I can be funny, and like how we was in rehearsal, in the mass choir rehearsal, and yeah, I was cracking jokes and stuff, but I wasn't trying to get everybody and their grandma's attention. I'm just right there in my little realm, just cracking jokes and having fun with
Yes.
people because their attention wasn't on us at the time. Their attention was on like the music and other things. I'm like, well, me, I can't sit there and just be 100% quiet. I can though, especially if I'm in deep thought and stuff like that. But in a setting like that, when everybody's just, I'm like, oh my gosh, y'all, blah, blah, blah. That's my time to be like, let me just be, talkative a little bit just because that's just me. But I'm not trying to get everybody in the whole section's attention and do all this extra stuff. I'm really just being myself in the most, how can I say it, condensed way, where
Mhm.
I'm not doing too much. Now, if I was at home with my family, I can be hoo hoo ha ha, whatever, whatever. But in
Mhm.
the church setting like that, there's a certain way that I even carry myself as a woman. I'm not trying to be fake or nothing like that, but there's a condensed version of myself that I put out there. Whereas I'm in a church setting, I'm focused, I know why I'm here. There's a certain level of, Bev that you're going to see. You're going to see the active version during praise and testimony. And when the word comes forth, you're going to see the attentive version. You're going to see the quiet version. You're going to see the amen version. You're going to see the wave the hand version. You know what I'm saying? But you're not going to see the, oh my gosh, girl, let me tell you. It may be a moment that happens real funny that I may catch somebody eye, we bust out laughing. But after that, I'm right back on focus. You know what I'm saying? Like at work, I'm doing my job. I'm doing what I got to do. I may have a moment to laugh with my coworker, but I'm back in serious mode. I'm back in, let me help this patient do this and do that mode. So it's a thing of knowing how to insert yourself as a woman and knowing how much of yourself to insert based off your atmosphere.
Yep, you definitely have to be a chameleon, 100% when it comes to adjusting to your environment.
Yeah. And it doesn't make you fake, but I think people kind of feel
Right.
that way because I think some women are used to being barbaric and just untamed, that they feel like we're taking a part of them by teaching discretion and submission. I had to learn that submission does not mean weak. That might sound crazy, but I had to learn and get that to click in my thick skull that people aren't looking at me to be weak because I'm submissive or because I'm discreet or because I'm quiet. I don't always have to respond. I don't always have to speak. I don't always have to talk about a topic. As a woman, I can be quiet and still show my strength because it takes a strong person to be quiet in the midst of a lot of talkers. Even though you have something to say, doesn't mean you have to say something.
Yes, that is so true.
I'm telling you, like I've learned so much as a female, and it's just based off of the teaching, because I can't stand to be disrespected. But I understand that sometimes I don't even have to respond to the disrespect. To me, not responding lets them know you disrespected me, and I don't even want to entertain you. And that automatically let them know, oh, so you ain't gonna say nothing back to what I just said. There's no need. Okay, so like I was saying, blah 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 blah. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. Then they know next time. All right, let me not say what I said the last time because she didn't even respond to me.
Mhm.
So it's still getting that in. Let me see. Mother Mark says I have cycle within cycle. People can be neutral with and few real with. Exactly. There are some that you can just be your total self with and they embrace you. Whereas others you have to give them bits and pieces. On the surface is what I call it. I give some people the surface Bev and I give some people the deep Bev. Now on my show, you're gonna get all of the above, you know, because it's my show and I can just show whatever side. But as a woman, I have learned, and it may not seem like to me some days that I'm doing a good job at it sometimes. Um, but I'm definitely learning. I would put it that way. I've learned, but I've learned what I should have learned in certain areas, but I'm still learning how to apply it. So I've done both. I've heard it taught, I've heard it broken down to me, I've learned it by education wise. But as far as wisdom on how to apply it, I'm still learning how to apply it. And I
Mhm.
just love being open and honest with people. Just because I'm in my 30s don't mean that I have mastered everything that it means to be a woman. You know what I'm saying? There are still levels of being a woman, and we're always learning how to better ourselves as women. And if you think you got it all together, then that's great. Wonderful. Teach us, teach other people. But not everybody, you know, has that mentality of I have no more room to grow. I've learned it all. And if you have that mentality, then you can't be taught. There's always room for improvement. And if you don't think that, then you're actually limiting yourself from being better.
Right. 100%. There are a few more topics
Yes.
of
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
it. It's communication etiquette,
Yes.
and actually speaking. You don't necessarily have to be, 100% eloquent when you speak. However, you want to speak in a way so that it's clear of what you're trying to say, and that yes, and that is proper and not offensive. Honestly, that's one of my biggest pet peeves. Just saying. But and then another but it's so bad because I trip over my words too. But that's okay, you know. At least when you can have a conversation and not use so much slang in it, not use explicit language, not being rude, disrespectful when you speak, things like that. That's all goes into the communication etiquette portion. And then also cultural etiquette. That's one thing that I really want to get into, is because things that we do here in America, you wouldn't be able to do in other countries.
No, you
Yeah.
wouldn't.
So to
America.
learn that, right. Oh, there's a lot. But yeah, especially if you want to travel, I would definitely suggest that you learn about the cultural etiquette part, because you don't want to be one that's gonna end up in jail, or God forbid, harm comes to you because you touch someone with your left hand, because that's a don't know. Don't do that and stuff like that. But yeah.
What about typing etiquette? Because there is an etiquette level that you should definitely have when you're typing in a professional setting. I've
Yes.
had a doctor write in capital letters to me, and I wrote her back and was like, "Why are you yelling?
Right.
That
Oh
is
my
not proper etiquette." And my coworkers was like, "Oh my gosh, she wrote that whole statement in capital letters." Yes, she did. And I told her, I told my manager, I said, "You might want to get this doctor, because I'm not about to respond to her. She writing in capital letters and that's yelling at me. So whatever's going on with her, she need to fix it." She was
right.
looking, my manager was looking like, and I was brand new to the job. I might have been like a month in. She was looking like, "Oh my gosh, I've never seen Beth come at me so direct. So I got to figure out what's going on here." And I never responded to her. I didn't. I'm sorry. There's certain things I do not respond to. And I'm just like, it is what it is. I'm not dealing with that. You're not gonna approach me any type of way. I don't care if you male or female, cat, dog, bird, or bee. There's a certain way that I like to be respected. And that's just how I am. Like, capital letters. Even my nephew typed us in capital letters. And I said, "Stop yelling at us. That is disrespectful. Don't do that." Like, don't do that. I don't care how upset you are about something. There's a certain way to approach, even in email. Using too
There
many
is.
exclamation points. You use one or two. If no, one in the business world. If you're excited about something, use one exclamation point. They said that. Do not use more than one exclamation point. But if I know this person professionally and I want to put like 5 of them in there, then I will do that. But if I barely know this person, this is a doctor, this is a medical director, whatever, I'm going to use one exclamation point to show my excitement,
Mhm.
just to keep it professional, because I never wanted to come across as unprofessional or way more than what it should be, and it could be used against me in the future.
Right.
Um,
Because especially when it comes to business communication and written communication, there's no tones, right? So whatever you write, however someone else reads it, they're going to interpret it in their own tone. So you have to write in a way that um, that will show what you're trying to say. Like if you're trying to say something in a warm way, however, you're not using commas to like break up the sentence, or the words that you choose to use are a little more I don't know if you want to say serious or something like that, that can be taken incorrectly. So even with texting, like we've all been there where you said something and someone just took it the wrong way, and it's like, no, that's not what I meant. So like when it comes to texting, it's better because we have emojis, so we can like express like what we're trying to say.
Because I send a quick eye roll emoji, so you know I meant it this way. I don't want you to get it confused. Okay, I'm gonna send a rolling eye emoji, so you know I meant to roll my eyes while I'm saying this.
Right.
But if I'm trying to be nice about it, yeah, I get it. If you're trying to be nice, you do have other ways to communicate.
Right.
That's
Instead,
good. Go ahead.
Right. Like if you're asking someone to do something, you're not gonna be like, I don't know, forget it, because I'm not about to come up with something on the spot.
No, okay. Let's say you need somebody to go in the room, and can you instead of asking a question, you do a demand. Turn my light off.
Right.
Like that's like a demand. Turn my light off. Instead of like, hey, can you turn my light off for me?
Right.
You know, I'd appreciate it. I'd appreciate it if you could turn my light off for me, or some way where it's softened up versus sending a demand. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you know.
Yes, and using simple words like please, thank you, you're welcome, I appreciate it, I value it. Like those go a long way, and they lighten up what you're trying to say, and it's like, oh, okay, yes.
Exactly. I know me. I can be a bit like when I'm thinking about something, or I'm mad about something. Sometimes I can be just abrasive. I just put it out there, blunt. No corners, no sugar added, just straight up salt, and I might add a little bit of vinegar. So it might come across really bad. So I try my best to do voice recordings. Like not being that if somebody has an iPhone, I'll record what I have to say and send it to them. That way it won't come across in the wrong manner too. That's another way you can communicate, by actually letting them hear what you're saying.
Right.
Letting them hear your voice so they know, okay, this is how she meant it, not what I'm thinking. So that's always a good thing. Brother Mark says, very good live. The sister and brothers need this type of conversation. You sisters be blessed. Peace be. Thank you, Brother Mark. I know we've been on here for about 2 hours. Any other way? Let me see. You mentioned dining etiquette. And you also mentioned chivalry in relationships. You mean like holding doors, who's going to be on the side where the cars are?
Yes.
Is that what you're referring to?
That too, yes. Also, when you're out and, you know, in a dining establishment, him seating you at the table before he sits, if you're eating, you're sharing an appetizer, he'll make sure that you're satisfied first. Like if there's one left, he'll offer it to you first. He wants to make sure that you're satisfied before he is, type of thing. Some people may not like this. It's something you can add if you want to. But like when it comes to ordering, the woman should order first and then the man. Sometimes the guy will take it upon himself to order for the woman, and then he'll order for himself as well. Of course, you know, making sure that's actually what she wants. Things like that. When you're out.
Let me say this as far as like I love stuff like this because I'm really a truly girly girl. Like I'm like and it's certain things that I never really knew, but things happen to me that I'm very pleased with. You know, the whole pulling your seat out and letting you sit. I'm just like, you know, you don't ask for certain things, but you get those things and you're just like, wow, like, okay, well, like, it's fine with me. But me, I'm so indecisive. I don't be knowing what I want to eat. So sometimes he be ready to order. Like if he's ready to order and I'm sitting there, it's like a thing of, okay, or my brothers or my dad, I get it that they're just like, if they're ready to order something, it's a thing of, okay, he's ready to order. They may not want to wait on me because I take too long.
See, with something like that, okay, like you might be out with that person. All right. It doesn't matter where. Please, even if it's in a group setting, everyone should order at the same time. And if you're the indecisive person, I would recommend, if you know where you're going ahead of time, to look at the menu. Have time so you know what you want. Yes, there are days where it'll change and we'll be like, oh, I don't know if I want this anymore. But make sure that you know what you want ahead of time, so that you're not taking too much time, you know, away from everybody else. Because, you know, if you know you're going somewhere to eat, we're gonna be hungry when we get there. So we don't want to wait a whole 15 minutes for
Look,
you
I
to
feel
decide.
judged right now. I feel attacked. Let me stop.
Don't feel attacked. Just take
I'm
it
just
into
joking.
consideration, so the next time, you know, you're prepared. And
Well,
anyone
it really just depends for me. Like I always have to ask the waiter or the waitress, like, what do you think, or how do I, or the person basically taking our orders, like, have you tried this? Have you tried that? I'm a question girl, so I have to ask questions before I even make my mind up to order something, because I may think that I may be ordering something good, and the waiter or waitress be like, that ain't that good. You might want to order this, and then I'm like, oh. Okay, well, thank you, and things like
Right.
that. So I could definitely be a bit much, but I've always been like that. But for the most part, like, you know, I think also it's good for the waiters or the waitresses to know etiquette too, because then they'll know to go to the women first versus the men. You know,
Exactly. That
that
too.
also helps as well. But me, I'm indecisive. So my dad and all, they'll put in their order. If I don't really pay attention to that, so that's something that I don't really know how it goes normally. But I normally can try to like put my stuff together quick. But
Yeah.
it just
With
depends. I'm very hard to please when it comes down to food. And this might sound crazy, but I've told people that if there was something that I could do and be okay and still be my same weight and not worry about it, it would be not eating. I really don't care. I'm not really a foodie. I know I have to eat to live, but I don't eat to, I don't, how do people say, live to eat?
right, that.
Like I eat to live. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not really like, oh my gosh, man, I gotta go to this new restaurant, blah, blah, blah. I'm not like that. So I'll go there and get something. Oh, let me just get some chicken nuggets or something, or pasta. That's something I normally eat. Pasta, something that I definitely know can be done well, but it can be butchered too. So,
Mhm.
but it's like something that's normally a safe thing. But for the most part, that does make sense. Just making sure I got myself together beforehand. um,
And you can always call the dining establishment ahead of time and ask them, like, you know, I'm thinking about ordering this. How do you feel about it? Or you can ask them, like, what's, you know, the most common dish that's ordered or something. You know,
Esther,
stuff.
that is too much. I'm not about to be calling. And some of them restaurants don't be answering their phone, so I'm about to be sitting on hold.
Well, or you can email them. You know, there's ways around it.
I'm so done. No, look, that's one thing I made, like, because I'm a spontaneous person, so a lot of times I don't even know where we're going until we get there. So but it's okay. I'm not as bad as I'm letting on, but I'm pretty sure people around me would disagree because they know how I can be. But at the end of the day, I think it's just a matter of just knowing exactly how things are to be done. But having your chair pulled out and things like that, I think it's just great. Like
Right.
it's a beautiful thing to be treated like a queen. And I think it's because you got to carry yourself that way. If you just go in there and flop down in your chair, then of course, and it doesn't mean that that man doesn't value you because he doesn't do these things. He may not have the knowledge of that. So you can't look at that and say, well, you got to get my chair. Like, what's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? But there are certain things
No,
that will come automatically that you don't even have to say. It's just a matter of just the way you carry yourself. And some
right.
women don't want that. Some women don't want their chair pulled out. They don't want the door held for them. They don't want none of that. Hold on one second. Wait 1 second. Hold on.
Ooh. But yes, to go off what you were saying, 100%. But you have to. Oh, sorry.
No, that's my fault. Hold on. Okay, now it's gone, I think.
So you also, you know, if it's something that you want and he doesn't know, you have to know how to ask him or let him know. Be like, it could be something as simple as, "Thank you for doing this for me, but I would love it more if you were to do this. Like, if you were, when we go out, if you seat me, I would really appreciate that, because it shows that you
Right.
want to serve me first and then, you know, take care of yourself," type thing. And if you
Yeah,
just express it in, you know, a nice way, you'd be surprised about what can come.
exactly. Sorry. Okay,
That's
now I got
okay.
you turned down.
And then also going back to what you said about the waiters and waitresses, they might not know the dining etiquette, especially in casual areas. Um, Definitely in fine dining, they know. However, if you and the person that you're eating with or the people that you're eating with, they know these things, they can tell when you're just pausing to eat. They can tell when you're finished with what you're eating by the way that you place your silverware on your plate.
A crossover like backwards. The fork is supposed to be like face down, and then the knife goes. At least that's what I was taught. Because I took this etiquette class like years ago. So after you
Yes.
eat your food or whatever, you cross it over and you kind of put it in the middle of your plate, basically letting them know that I'm done with this food. This is X. I'm done. I'm finished.
So that's actually now you make me think. I'm pretty sure that's actually the pause position is when it's crossed on the plate. To be finished is when they're both
Mm.
together and the tines of the fork are up and it's to the side like 5 o'clock or 5:30, that area. That's when it's like you're
I
finished.
don't well, they taught me wrong in etiquette class then, because I went to
But
this,
then
dining etiquette class, like, 10
um,
years ago, so it could have been updated, but, and because I went to a school that was culinary based, we had this etiquette class that they brought on campus and stuff, so
mm,
that was what I was taught then, but I don't know, maybe I could have heard wrong. I might have been half asleep too, so that could have been wrong, definitely could have been
then
wrong.
again, I could have been remembering wrong because, like, all of this didn't happen overnight. I actually just finished. You know, when you did that live about like what goals are you looking forward to do during this year, and I mentioned that I wanted to finish my online school, like my online finishing school.
Mhm.
Well, I did, and the certificate is right up there. So,
Yay!
I'll take it. So yeah, it's all this stuff. It's still new to me, and I'm still learning. And you have to review these things if you really want to get it down, because it's not gonna happen overnight. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
that's true.
I
I mean,
think
even
it's.
go ahead.
I was gonna say I think it's just a great way to communicate to other people, like
A
why
great
you're,
proper way.
exactly,
Yeah, more
instead of
classy
having to
way.
always say something. Yeah.
And I think more people we have to learn it. Like I'm not saying that I want to have kids because I definitely don't. But if I were to have kids, if it be God's will, once I'm married, um, then I would definitely want to teach them etiquette in the dining aspect as well, even as young kids, because that's something you don't see. Like we ate at home a lot. We never really ate out I mean, it was a lot of us. So my mom accustomed us to eat at home, but we still can learn, nowadays how to eat at home and how to eat in public while we're at home. We set it up like a nice fancy restaurant and
Mhm.
we have the serving and all those things. I love stuff like that. That's why I've worked on presentation for my food. Like, I don't know, I've posted things a while back on how I set my food up on my plate. You know how they have the rice that looks like it's a bowl on top, like upside down bowl, and you got the veggies a certain way, you got the meat a certain way, you got the
Mhm.
sauce sprinkled over the right. Like I did that a couple of times because I love stuff like that. Like it just makes me feel very, high end, should I say. And so I think there's a certain type of way that I would love to do stuff like that in my own home, even for
Mhm.
my family one day, just like do like a candlelit dinner where I make a certain type of food, maybe steak, something that's more fancy, and have everybody dress up and we come down to the table or whatever. And, I serve everybody and then sit down, stuff like that. I love stuff like that.
Mhm.
So, I've always been that type of person that loves just the classier side of things, and just making it more beautiful and more elegant. That's why, my 30th birthday party, that's why I had it like that
Mhm.
because I love, and my sister would be like, yeah, you would do something like this for yourself. And I'm like, yeah, everybody had to wear the same color. I wore pink because I was, the person being celebrated, but I
Mhm.
planned my whole birthday party. I planned my whole birthday party. I found the place, just those things. Like I said, this is what I wanted, all that stuff. And my sisters, they helped me, make it happen. And I'm pretty sure they were like, oh gosh, if you get married, man, this is going to be crazy. Like, oh, it's going to be too much. But I'm telling you, wedding is planned by me. Like nobody else, because I know what I want. I know how I want it, and I know who has the skill and the ability to carry out each task in my family. So I already know who's going to do what. You know what I'm saying? Like because
Mhm.
I want a certain level of, you know, decor and style and class in it. So have everything lined out. Like that's just how I am. Because I'm like,
Mhm.
it's my 30th birthday party and I don't like surprises. So I don't like for people to do things for me. I like to know what's being done so I can know how to respond accordingly. It's maybe
Mhm.
it's a control issue. Pray for me. I don't know. Maybe that's a control issue. But I just like for things to be done a certain way and I don't like to be disappointed. So having dining etiquette and all those things or how to do because like I told you earlier, I went to this very fancy restaurant called Steak 48. It wasn't too fancy, but it was a higher level than what I've been to before. And so it was higher than any level that I've been to before. So it's just the tablecloths and just how everything was, there was no prices on the menu. So you already know it's going to be a little bit upscale if there's no prices on the menu. And
Mhm.
you have to find out when you get ready to check out how much money you done spent. So you better have at least what? Well, if you're paying for yourself, then you can eat good with like $100, I guess. But if you're paying for somebody else, you better have a few $100. Especially if y'all get dessert and all that other good jazz. And I was treating someone for their birthday, so of course I had to make sure I had my ducks in a row, so I wouldn't have to go back there and wash dishes on the way out. But but just that dining experience, just that etiquette, that and just that atmosphere where it felt like I needed to dress a certain type of way. Because I looked at the menu, I looked at the pictures to see how I should dress, how we should dress going there. I'm
Mhm.
like, all right, y'all, no sneakers, no this, no that. We got to put on a certain type of clothing. So I had, like I said, my boots on, my flare skirt, my nice sweater that made it look, not too super black tie, but it looked really nice. And I didn't look so casual. So
Mhm.
that was a thing that I really enjoyed just experiencing that. So when I saw you posting etiquette things, I was like, yo, like dining would be definitely a good thing to include because we need to know how to do these things. If you've never been to a restaurant beyond Golden Corral, if you've never been to a restaurant beyond Cheesecake Factory where people can come in there with flip flops on and a t-shirt, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, then you may need
Mhm.
to know how to experience that because you never know when you may be invited to a business luncheon that goes beyond just
Exactly.
your normal. Like, you got to know how to be outside of your norm. And if you don't know, then you're gonna go there looking crazy.
Exactly.
Let me
Exactly.
see. There was something else you mentioned. I think that was etiquette. You said communication etiquette, dining etiquette, relationship etiquette. Go back down the list for me. Anything else that I left out, just so we can expound on all of them.
Mindset, cultural, network, communication.
Mindset. Yep, you went through mindset.
Um,
Cultural. You said yep, learning certain cultures. I think in Dubai, if I'm not mistaken, they have a thing where you cannot show public affection. If I'm not mistaken, that's a place where for you will get fined for showing affection in public, if I'm not mistaken. So it's
oh,
like knowing your countries, and that's supposed to be one of the most romantic places to go, I think, in the entire world. But they don't want you showing affection. They don't want you, holding hands and doing public displays of affection. So it's kind of like, you keep all that together, go view the country, view whatever you got to view. Is beautiful, is this, is that, this is so lovely. However, no holding hands, no doing this. If I'm not mistaken, I think I'm saying that correctly. I could be wrong, but I think someone told me that in Dubai, you cannot do a certain level of affection in public. So I think it's a really good thing to have these conversations where people know, go look it up. What is allowed? What is not allowed? Do you
right.
shake hands? Do you bow? You know what I'm saying? Like some people won't,
Mm,
I don't know if people still bow. I know we're not supposed to bow technically to anyone, but there may be a certain, greetings to a certain country that you must do in order to be accepted, and not be offensive. So these things are very important on making sure that you're not out there looking crazy. You just gonna show up. You got a passport, so you just want to go wherever you want to go, and then you get there and you don't know what in the world you're doing, and so you end up going to jail over there and got to talk to the U.S. embassy or whatever it is to get out.
mm, right. And it can sound funny, but it's like it's really a real thing.
It's
Like,
it's real though. It
It
really
is.
is real, and it does sound funny. I'm sorry, I try to make things light, but it really is serious business though to go over there and to find out that what's welcome in America, the peace sign may be seen as offensive. It may be seen as something that, is signaling death, or you never know what you're doing, so you got to be very careful, be very mindful. I think the Cayman Islands, you can't litter over there without being fined. Now, some places over here in America, you can like throw something out the window and keep it going. Not that
That's
you
not
should.
okay.
It's not okay because trust me, I know somebody tried to do that out of my window, and I was like, "Don't you dare! Like, don't throw that out of my window." That end up
I think
hitting
that's
somebody.
disgusting.
It is. It hit somebody on their windshield or something, or they got their window down and
Oh no.
like
No,
a,
no, no.
a, a banana peeling right in their face that you did. And then all of a sudden they writing down your license plate and you being fined or put in jail for 24 hours because you threw a banana peeling out your window. Like, just wait till you get home. Like, wait till you get to the gas station. Like everybody else and clean your car out. Like, what in the world?
Exactly.
But I think in the Cayman Islands they have like really steep fines for people that litter because they want to keep their island clean.
Hmm.
And I mean, you could just look at America and see it's not as clean. But go ahead.
Oh, there's another thing, like in other places that are very strict, like their laws are really governed by like their religion there. If you go there and you are dressed in like a provocative way or you're showing too much skin or something, you can get in trouble too. So, I mean, of course, we're not trying to dress like that. However,
But
you know,
there are some that do. There are some
exactly.
that do. But I think that's a good thing. That's maintaining a certain moral high level standard for what women should be presenting themselves as anyway.
Hmm.
And people may disagree with that. They may say it's my body. You can't tell me how to dress. Feel however you want it to feel, but you can dress however you want to dress back at home. You ain't coming over
Right.
here doing
Um,
because it's a certain level of respect that they have for women evidently, and that's a good thing. They don't want to see every woman's body. Can you imagine that? Going to a place where they don't want to see every woman's body. They want to
right.
see you covered up. They want to see you present yourself in a really nice aspect that's modest and mysterious, so to speak.
Right.
Like, why would you feel comfortable with somebody that wants to see everything about you?
Right.
Why?
The same thing goes for the men too. Like,
Exactly. And I know people probably like, well, it's just not the women, it's the men too. That's true, but we're talking about women's etiquette today. But yes, we will throw the men in there too. They should dress accordingly as well. But to be honest, you'll see a woman show her body way faster than you will a man. Look at all these commercials out here in life. I mean, to sell a car, they'll put a woman in a two-piece
yes. So sad.
because sex sells.
Yep. It's actually one of the things taught in like if you take an advertising class or a marketing class, it's gonna they're one of the topics for the things that they use to get someone's attention is literally sexual appeal. That's one of the topics that goes into advertising. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, and it's very like disrespectful to those of us that are striving to do the way that we should do and trying to dress the way that we should because they look at you crazy because you wanna cover up and say you doing too much. I've even heard that. Every time I turn around, "You got on that long skirt," blah, blah, blah. Yes, I do. What you worried about it for? None of your business. Like, who I am and what I got on, that's none of your business.
Mm-hmm.
Respect it or keep it moving. No in between. So, yeah, as women, man, we got a lot of stuff that we got to protect ourselves from and cover ourselves up. But yes, there are men that are out there trying to do it right as well. And yes, they can be harassed as well, especially on their jobs by these bloodthirsty women. Oh, look at you. Oh, you fixing that light, ain't you? Yeah, I see you. They can be treated like that too.
Oh my
Seriously, men get it
gosh.
all the time. They come there to fix one of the broken lights, and they got all these women drooling and complimenting, and grandmas and aunties and all of that, all in their grill because they fixing a light that they said was broken. Like, who broke this? Did y'all break this on purpose because you wanted this man to come in here? Like, I've seen it all. Yeah, if you press that button, the fire department will come and they got on these uniforms, these shorts, and all this. I'm not pushing that button. Get away from me. Like, what in the world?
Oh my
So
goodness.
it's just a matter of protecting each other. We respect ourselves because we want to be respected, as well as respecting other people, so that we can be
Hmm.
respected also. Because it is something that's earned.
Yes, 100%. There's also hat etiquette and fashion etiquette. Like, there's just so much. There really is.
Okay, hat etiquette. Let's talk about that. Like taking your hat off when you go into a building if you're a man.
Correct. And also even for women. So, you know, for us it's a little bit different. Like if you're wearing a hat, however, we can wear hats, we can wear headdress, blah blah blah. If you're out and you're gonna be outdoorsy a lot, it's appropriate to wear a hat in the daytime. Once it hits around like 7 o'clock, you shouldn't be wearing a hat anymore because it's like, why? Right? Like the hat is like guarding you from the sun. It's protecting you from the sun to help you, right? And give you some shade. But you don't really need that after a certain period of time. So it's things like that. Also, like these extravagant looking hats are not okay. Like the more simplified versions is what you should go for. Things like that, you
Okay,
know.
so what do you mean by the extravagant hats?
Stuff that there's like jewels all over the hat. There's like
Okay.
so many feathers sticking out of it. Or if it's like a really, really wide brim where it can pretty much be like a veil at this point, covering your whole face. there's
I've seen it, like where you blocking other people's view because your hat is so big.
right where it becomes offensive now because the hat is just being able to see.
Oh, I gotta use that. That is not proper hat etiquette. I cannot see.
But if it's an average type brim, like when you wear a hat, sometimes people's views are going to be obstructed. There is nothing you can do about it. However, it's
That's
being
true.
something crazy,
Oh,
you can do something
I've
about
seen some tall ones that women wear, and I've seen some wide ones that women wear, and that's just totally disrespectful because you sitting in the front. And not only
it.
that, but you're blocking the person speaking on every angle. So if I'm sitting diagonal from you behind you, I can't see now. If I'm sitting right behind you, I'm like, oh my gosh, like you got to be kidding me. Okay, let me see. So we're
Hmm.
upset. We need you to go all the way to the end, please. You in that hat, go all the way to the end, and that way all the rest of us can see.
Right.
And so I think, yeah, that's very important. Hat etiquette. I wasn't even thinking about that. I never expected you to say that. And Destiny said, and what she say? And you're tall. That's what Destiny said. Hi, Destiny.
But yes, that was too. So I have to, me being on the taller side, I have to be very strategic when I wear my hats. Even I don't have any crazy ones. However, when I decide to wear a hat, like I have to be very strategic about where I'm sitting and
Hmm.
who's behind me, so I'm not blocking anyone.
And I rarely
Sometimes
wear
you
hats
can,
too.
right? Sometimes you can plan it out. Sometimes you just can't.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Right.
really, really true. But I really do thank you. I didn't realize we were on here for over 2 hours already, but it don't feel like it, at least not to me. But I really do appreciate what you have said thus far. These things right here we have to keep in mind because it's more than just living life every day. There's a way to live life. There's a proper way and an improper way. And yes, we can't define our lives all the time by what other people say. But if you
Mhm.
find that but if you find that there is a general way that does not contradict anything and it's actually something that could better you, then why not at least consider it? And of course, there are certain things that we automatically know, chivalry, but there are things that people don't know, dining etiquette, a woman ordering first before the man, things like that, or how big your hat is. Did you really realize that that was going to be that big? You didn't know that they was going to put you in the front and you tall, but you might want to ask them, can you move to the side, switch with the person on the end? That way people can see. Like, it's just people don't really understand that. Men, I've seen them walking into a building, not just in a building, but in a big room, and they got a hat on. That's one of the quickest things that I'd be like, don't even know what they doing at all, period.
Mhm.
But I can't judge them. But automatically your mind just go to old schoolers know certain type of etiquette to me. Like old schoolers, there's a man, men know when I walk into the house, take my hat off. When I walk into the room, take my hat off. Not all men know that, especially these young guns, as they would call them. Like they may not know that because nobody is really old school. There's nobody in there really teaching them these things. a woman, how you supposed to slide in and out of a car. Someone actually told me that. It was a sister, an older sister told me how to get in and out of my car. Evidently, I definitely was doing it wrong. And sometimes I still do it wrong because if I'm rushing, I ain't got time to be sliding. I got to jump in that car, so I got to go. But there's a conscientious part of me that's just like, okay, slide in, and But then there's another part of me that's just like, girl, you got to go. Seatbelt on, crank the car up, I'm gone. But there are things that people don't know that's out there. You know what I'm saying? And then there's some people that just don't care. They know it, but they don't care because in their minds, I'm doing the best I can. I know what I'm doing. If I need to incorporate that, I'll incorporate that. If not, and to each his own. This is not a show to like tell people what to do, but it's to enlighten people on what is out there that they may not have known before, that they can pick up on and can do. So, are there any final words, anything that we need to know that we may not have discussed so far, or something you want to use in closing?
I would just say to do your research. There's a lot to do with etiquette in every aspect of your life. So, you can adapt that. Take it in for its worth and apply it to yourself. And, you're going to end up seeing that you're going to be treated with a lot more respect. You'll feel happier about yourself because you're taking these extra steps to not only be mindful of your behaviors, but also how you're treating others in a way not to offend. So,
Sounds good to me. Well, there you have it, everyone. Miss Esther Fitzgerald, thank you so much for joining us again. We really do appreciate you, your time, your effort, and your words of wisdom and kindness and grace that you've given us to be able to come on the show today. It's been a really good treat having you. I love doing this with people because I just feel like I don't know everything. So bringing people on to help, and I know we kind of got off topic at one point, but I think it kind of still geared in towards what we were talking about because
mhm.
women still need to have a certain level of intelligence and street smarts and not be gullible. And sometimes, a lot of times, women are more gullible than men, to be honest, um, because we just, whatever the case may be, we'll be one of the main ones out there getting duped and be laughed at
Mhm.
afterwards. But overall, like I've learned a lot of things today, and I've learned ways to be more proper. So I really do appreciate you coming on, enlightening me. If nobody else got anything from it, I know I did.
Okay.
So and so that was one of the reasons why, because sometimes you can't always get it on the phone, or and it's good to share it with other people besides myself. I didn't want to be stingy and just call you and talk to you about it by myself, even though I could have, but I wanted to share more. So thank you so much for that. Everyone, this is the Flower Bev Show, where we do the butterfly mentality, where we fly in our minds even though we're going through caterpillar struggles. I do intend on to pick back up on, it's about to be hoodie season, so I think I'm gonna still come out with my Flower Bev hoodies this season. So
Mhm.
thank y'all so much for all your support so far. I really do appreciate you all. It's been a joy like doing this. Sometimes I get a little nervous, and I kind of close it early because I'm like, I don't know if I'm reaching anybody, so I kind of close it early. But I get a lot of good feedback on the shows that I'm not so confident in. So thank y'all so much for just joining on, and just all those that are still hanging with me. It's 6 people on here, so I appreciate you all. And I'm gonna do my closing song. So God willing, I plan to be back next week, but I don't know 100% because some new plans just came up about. So I'll let y'all know. But I may do a playback. But if I do the playback, I'm not on. I'm just playing it back where y'all can see it again. Because I know the last time people were commenting, and I was like, "Oh
Guilty.
my God." So
Okay.
someone was so kind enough to text me and say, "Bev, are you reading these comments?" I'm like, "No, I just did the playback because I wasn't there." But yeah, so thank y'all so much, and I appreciate you. So I'm going to close out with my song. Oh, may God be with you. Oh, may God be with you. Oh, may God be with you till we meet again. Oh, may God be with you. Oh, may God be with you. Oh, may God be with you till we meet uh, again. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay, are we still live? Yes, we are. It's not, I know, right? It hasn't closed.